Masters is back in 2025 and it's coming in hot. This season, 10 Drift Masters pros step into the sim to battle 40 of the last season's best virtual drivers in a showdown like no other. With 7 rounds of high-stakes action and top 32 broadcasts every Sunday, the stage is set for something legendary. And calling all the action, you may ask? It's me, Tiny, bringing the hype, the energy, and every tire-shredding moment. This is Virtual Drift Masters 2025. Let's go.
Chcesz, aby twoje wydarzenie wyglądało jak finał Mistrzostw Świata? Wiemy, co pokazać na ekranie, zanim widz zdąży o tym pomyśleć. Ragnar Simulator. Od idei do transmisji.
Oh, the showdown tags the wall, almost throws it away as Hines backs it in across the line.
Unbelievable again. What a final. What a finish. Rory Hines is your 2024 champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Virtual Drift Masters. My name is Jonathan Jarboe here, or also known as Tiny, and I am here with a new announcer today. It's Kian. How are you doing, man? How you introduce yourself to the audience, because a lot of people probably seen you for a first time.
Yeah, I'm Keen Reedy. This is my first time on Virtual Drift Masters. I'm super duper excited. Some people might know my voice from DMP or Scottish Virtual Drift Series, but we're here for the first time on Virtual Drift Masters. I'm super excited to get into this. Thanks to all you guys for having me.
Yeah, it's great. And we are here in Germany today, virtually wise. This is going to be the next round of Drift Masters. It's going to be awesome. Here's the schedule, what it's looking like. We are already at round 6. We have one more, and that's round 7 in Poland. So every Virtual Drift Masters is about 2 weeks prior, or 2 weeks prior to the live events. And then here are the prize pools. You got first place gets 1,000 euros, second place gets 600 euros, and 200 for third. And that's for the round. For the season, it's $1,500 in euros. And it's a VIP ticket to Poland as well. Last year it was Jaku that got the experience. But give us a quick rundown of this track here.
Yeah, so we can see from the video here, we've start outer zone 1 onto a wall, outer zone 2 also onto wall, carrying that outside line around to outer zone 3 as we transition back to outer zone 4, again onto a wall, transition back onto another wall, outer zone 5, and another wall at outer zone 6, and across the line at outer zone 7. A lot of walls in this layout here, so as we follow down this little mangy entry into outer zone 1 here, we want to see drivers nice and deep onto that wall, really filling out all these zones. As we come around through to outer zone 3, we want full power around here, maybe a little float zone here before outer zone 4, partial throttle zones we are calling them. As we transition here again to outer zone 5, want drivers filling them zones as much as possible. Judges will be really marking hard. We don't want the guys in the wall, we don't want them setting off their line or setting off angle, tagging that wall, but we do want to see them as close as physically possible.
And now we have a familiar face, Rose. How are you doing today? What are you feeling like?
I'm good, Jonathan King. Good to see you both, but I'm feeling really good. It's a penultimate round, guys. We're really coming down to the wire, right? Lots of walls in this layout, Keen, as you were just explained. So I think battles are going to get really, really crazy. So let's see what's going to happen.
For sure, it's going to be crazy, especially how the bracket is looking. If Alan Hines and Sullivan go into top 16, that's a big battle. Man, you got this bracket here. You have a lot of heavy hitters here: Brandon, Patrick, Hatcher, Stella, Rupina. It's going to be a slugfest here in Germany, and I can't wait to see how these guys compete in this new layout compared to what they're used to doing in the Simwise. So, Kian, what are you thinking about with this bracket here?
I'm looking at this bracket. It is unbelievable. We got some really, really heavy hitters in the top 32. A lot of wild cards too. A lot of wild cards I would know. Jordi Lopez, I actually drove against him in the Scottish Virtual Drift Series last season. Really good driver. We've got also, like you said, we've got that championship decider, possibly in that top 16, which could be a huge battle. Really excited to see how that plays out. We've got some other drivers here. We got Isaiah, Andrev. All these big heavy hitters for the last kind of couple of years, these guys have been coming up through the ranks, really showing what they're made of. So hopefully we have an absolute incredible round on our hands today.
Yeah, and what are you thinking, Rose?
I don't know. I just think we're going to see the drivers put it all on the line. I mean, it's the second last round. They really, really need to push hard if they want to take that championship or, achieve their goals. So, but on another note, I have some great interviews lined up, and I'm looking forward to hearing what our drivers think, and I'll go and get started.
All right. We'll see you after this break.
Oh, the shadow packs the wall, almost throws it away as Hines backs it in across the line.
Unbelievable again. What a final. What a finish. Your 2024 champion.
Chcesz, aby twoje wydarzenie wyglądało jak finał Mistrzostw Świata? Wiemy, co pokazać na ekranie, zanim widz zdąży o tym pomyśleć. Ragnar Simulator. Od idei do transmisji.
Hello.
Pal, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, guys, so we seem to be having a little bit of a technical issue where I don't have any sound, so I can't actually hear Pal. Pal, I'm so sorry. Hopefully we'll get sorted now in a moment.
Okay, all right.
Now, okay, guys, so this man needs no introduction. He's one of our dual drivers competing in both the IRL series and the virtual series. It's Pel Corpalinski. Thanks for joining us, Pel. How are you doing today?
Hello, thank you. I'm doing quite well. I'm trying to concentrate on the top 32, which is right ahead of us. But otherwise, I'm okay.
Excellent. Okay, and tell us, Pel, do you see VDM as a way to get extra seat time for the real life championship, or do you see it as being just as competitive and just important, just as important?
Well, of course, it's a great practice tool for me in terms of my preparations for the real competitions, for the real drift masters. But on the other hand, my journey with drifting began in simulators, so I'm really into this virtual drifting world as well. So it's a great practice tool overall, and I try to spend as much time as I can prior to every event to get to know the track, to get the muscle memory ready for the real event. But at the same time, it's a great fun to compete against the best in the business when it comes to virtual drifting. And of course, you can see all of these best guys in here in VDM.
Great. Okay. And Pell, 1 week on from Riga and not the result you wanted. We saw that incident in practice that caused you to retire from the competition early. So tell us, how do you stay motivated after such an unfortunate event?
That was an unlucky day for us and very unfortunate event, but it is what it is. As we usually say during such a situation or after such a situations, we can't really do anything else but to focus on the upcoming round in Germany in Ferropolis. I think that there is absolutely no reason to think about the past. All we do now is prepare as good as we can, both in terms of the cars and myself for the upcoming round. And of course, it was a tough one to swallow. The practice in Riga went good, and I felt really good at the track and in the car. So everything was going quite good up until the accident. But well, that's motorsports. No one could predict it. So that's how it is. We are not going to think about it anymore. We are just putting all our focus on the upcoming round in Germany.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much, Pell. I'm wishing you the best for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
And we're back here. Rose Penelope doing a killer interview with Paul Corpalinski. We are at Ferropolis here in Germany for the second to last round of Virtual Drift Masters. This is a little bit different than the previous Ferropolis that we've seen before, especially in the Assetto Corsa world. And I'm excited to see how the transition from different layouts for these drivers. Some of these guys have been driving different tracks as similar. Kian, what are you thinking about? What's going to be the problem area of this track?
For me, it's the initiation. Like, there's a decel there, and you're coming from this really high speed entry into a wall, and the chase driver having to match the lead driver as well. That can be a real problem area for a chase driver. I think if your lead line is not on point here, you could be really getting marked down by the judges here. They really need to have that perfect line so that chase driver can do their job and get up nice and close onto the door of the lead driver. So hopefully everything goes to plan for the drivers. We'd love to see some unbelievably tight battles here. A couple of one more times maybe, who knows? But I'm really excited to see the level of driving here, because I've seen some practice and it is huge amount of talent here.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely for sure. And now we have our first battle. It's going to be Brandon Patrick versus Steven Hatcher. Let's see if Hatcher can sink his hatchet into the door of Brandon Patrick as he is leading. You see Brandon Patrick on the bottom left with the sim cam locked in, ready to go. We're waiting for the lights. The first battle of round 6 of Virtual Drift Masters. Here comes Brandon Patrick coming in with a nice straight line initiation. And look at Steven Hatcher getting forward in the pocket. Patrick was a little bit shallow on both of the first outer zones. And oh man, now he's starting to fill it all the way out, using that left foot brake to get that back into that wall. Oh, buttery smooth. Look at the Hatcher, a little bit lost in the smoke. Now he has to surge into the pocket of Brandon Patrick, and then finishing off this battle here, this lap. Now they're going to switch sides. What are you looking at this, Ian?
Yeah, so when on entry here, we saw Brandon a little bit shallow off that first clip, but then gets right back onto that lead line. We see Steven Hatcher doing a good job with the little mistake, but later on in the run here, we see Steven Hatcher just over angle a bit and fall back coming through the smoke just before the transition a little bit late. So we have Stephen Hatcher a little bit to do in the lead position here, not the position he would want to be in. Brandon Patrick in a very, very nice position here coming into this chase run for him.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. And we talk about the similarities of the sim world and the real life competition. These guys have spotters, so I'm pretty sure Brandon Patrick spotter is telling them to put it to the door of Hatcher, as we see Hatcher in the lead, taking off to the line, going in that initiation. A little bit of contact right off the rip at the beginning of this lap. But here comes Hatcher going to outer zone 2, transition to outer zone 3, and getting right to the wall. Look at Brandon Patrick trying to surge on into the pocket, giving him some room. And he's matching the angle right here to the final 3 outer zones as they're finishing this lap. The Canadian versus the UK man.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we look at this now, break it down, Stephen not on that proper line, not as deep as he would have wanted to be through those zones. As he gets back online here now, possibly a bit of contact there on that transition. Brandon Patrick, knowing he has a bit of an advantage here, possibly from his spotter, we can see he's just pushing enough, just up onto the door, not having to do too much. And hopefully we will see a result here now. Stephen Hatcher, unfortunately, not having the best of top 32s here. Although he has been around for years, he's had success in the sim world.
Yeah, Stephen Hatcher has been around with the sim community and multiple different types of competitions. And if you haven't never seen drifting before, each driver gets 1 lap leading and chasing. And the job for the chase driver is using that lead car as a moving clipping point. We have 3 judges here today that are judging the competition, and they're going to select who's going to move on. As we see on this screen, left for Patrick, right for Hatcher. And the anticipation is real. It looks like a one more time, and it's going to have another battle here. The same drivers. The judges probably was saying, hey, these guys are a little bit messy. We need to clean it up to see how it's going. Maybe we'll even get a little quick discussion from the judges, one of our judges here.
Yeah, maybe us not spotting something there. Well, definitely me not spotting something. Possibly some mistakes from Brandon Patrick there too, as we line them back up.
And here comes Brandon Patrick back to the line in the lead. This is so different than other tracks. Usually tracks, they'll have them initiate wide. They're kind of initiating on the inside line, which is very unique for our layout. Brandon Patrick is locked in, waiting for the lights, getting set up with that BMW. Stephen Hatcher trying to jump a little bit, but here comes Brandon Patrick, a lot better entry, using that e-brake to float into outer zone 1, getting into outer zone 2, huge angle going to outer zone 3, transitioning to 4, and here comes Stephen Hatcher surging into the pocket, using that left foot brake to massage the angle so he can adjust for this transition to the final 3 outer zones. Look at Brandon Patrick go in the lead.
That was a much, much tidier run there. First half of this one more time. Let's break it down. So Stephen Hatcher dives to the inside to try get up right onto the door of that BMW Z4. And you can see in the chase here, he's just perfectly mimicking what Brandon Patrick's doing in the lead. So as we come around here to the transition, you can see Stephen just massages that car perfectly up onto the door of that BMW. Little bit of a correction there, not too major, but we'll swap them back around and we will get Brandon Patrick to chase Stephen Hatcher.
Yeah, Brandon Patrick is absolute gangster when it comes into unique cars in competition-wise. I was talking to him a couple months back. He was drifting a Challenger in one of his pro comps. And here we go. Stephen Hatcher now lighting off the tires into the initiation, going to the first outer zone, hitting that e-brake a little bit. Look at Brandon Patrick just getting that proximity, keeping it alive throughout the whole track. Transition, bumper to bumper transition, going to the outer zone 4. Now final 3 outer zones. A little bit of contact on the wall from Stephen Hatcher as they're going to the last outer zone. Now we're gonna see a tit for tat judging here.
Absolutely. So let's have a look here. So Stephen Hatcher much better in the lead this time round. And then again, we have the chase driver, Brandon Patrick, doing an incredible job in the chase here. We can see coming around perfectly, little small bit of angle correction there. But here we see that little bit of contact with the wall, Stephen Hatcher, and we see Brandon Patrick surge up onto that door and perfectly adjust to that little bit of a mistake in the lead there. So we'll see what happens as we see the beautiful Strom wheels there on Stephen Hatcher's car.
Yeah, then Virtual Drift Masters is sponsored by Strom, and they've been absolutely awesome with the series, especially with money as another sponsor and Ragnar Simulators. Here we go. We got a judge's decision, and it looks like Brandon Patrick gets the win and moves on. And it was due to the contact on that wall that we saw from Hatcher.
Yeah, absolutely. That little things like that most people wouldn't really catch if you're new to drifting, but these things, these judges have eagle eyes. They can see absolutely everything, every little mistake, every little correction. They can see it, and they do mark it down. So these drivers really do have to be clinical and perfect. As we get up the next battle, I believe it's Nico Stella versus Rupina. Rupina?
Is Krzysztof Rupina. Nico the Kid Stella. This young buck has been an absolute animal on the track, and I love seeing him drive. Love seeing last round he podiumed, and the sim cam when he's have it on, you'll see his parents like patting him like, yeah, good job. It's so great to see. But here we go, Nico the Kid Stella in the lead, Krzysztof Rupina in the right, sim cam on. Nico coming in with a nice initiation, getting right to angle, hitting that first outer zone, back bumper, dragging the wall on outer zone 2 and 3, and now going to outer zone 4. Beautiful transition, buttery smooth. But look at Krzysztof Rupina with that S chassis, getting right to the pocket, bumper to bumper transition to the final outer zone. He is surging forward and forward into the pocket as Nico the Kid Stella finishes this lap with that 400Z.
Yeah, unbelievable. First half of this battle here, as we see that entry on Chase was unbelievably close. As we come back around to outer zone 3 here, transition here, bumper to bumper, unbelievable. As back up on the door, this chase run is unbelievable. But again, you cannot have a good chase run without a good lead run. The lead run here from Nico Stella is unbelievable. This is a really, really exciting battle, just about to go for our second run here now.
Yeah, the winner of this battle goes against Brandon Patrick, and we have the second half of this battle. And if you notice, compared to other drift competitions, Drift Masters, they stagger their drivers so that chase driver can do a jump start for the light, as we see Nico do. He's getting right next to him, right on the initiation, now pushing him, bullying him to outer zone 2. Nico the Kid Stella is out here for a fight, now transitioning to outer zone 4. And rubbing that back bumper on that wall is Krzysztof Rupina, transitioning to outer zone 5. Buttery smooth, lock to angle. Nico the Kid Stella is right there on the door of Rupina.
Wow, look at the entry here in the chase position from Nico Stella, right on the door, not an inch between them. A little bit of contact there though, but Stella definitely trusting that lead line from Rupina there as they come around into that second wall. Look at the proximity here, and when we transition back, the proximity only stays the same. Look at that. Couldn't fit a piece of paper between these two drivers here. This is going to be hard for the judges. There was that little bit of contact there in that second run though, so maybe this might be easy enough for the judges. Very, very clean set of runs though. We get a beautiful view around both these cars.
Oh yeah, and I love how the VDM is emulating in the virtual world for even fans and pro drivers. You go to vdm.gp, you could be able to access these maps when they release them. But man, everybody here, whenever they do virtual drift masters and they get excited for it, the amount of hours these guys put into it to try to get that perfect line. But then when competition day starts, that's where the nerves set in. They could win money from this. Top 3.
Yeah, you do see a lot of really, really unbelievable runs in practice, and you do think, as we think we have a decision here coming in. So swiping left for Nico Stella, right for Krzysztof Rupina. Or do we have a one more time? Who knows? It's a one more time by split decision. Wow.
Wow. That's great.
So
That was
Chris going with
insane.
Stella on that one.
Yeah. Well, it might have been on that contact. Was it forced by the lead driver? It could have been that possibility. I'm just not a judge, a commentator. I'm a fan of drifting. You'll see them in real life. It usually takes like a couple minutes to switch out tires, but in the sim, they just go back to pits, reset their tires, get lined up, get locked in. Here comes Nico the Kid Stella in the lead again. It's just off Rupina in the chase. Nico the Kid Stella with that purple 400Z. Just off Rupina in that white and red S chassis. Oh man, Nico the Kid Stella deletes his bumper on outer zone 1 and 2. Went to outer zone 3, buttery smooth, using that left foot brake to modulate the angle and keep that momentum going as he is going to outer zone 4. Transition to outer zone 5. Look at Shishov Rupina getting door to door all the way through the track.
Again, the proximity here is unbelievable. Watch this as we enter. Straight away, straight up onto the wing mirror. Falls back a little bit, has a little bit of a correction there as we work our way around to outer zone 3. Transition back here and straight back up onto the side of that 400Z. We transition back again, and oh my, Rupina just doing a fabulous job here in the chase position. Stella doing an unbelievable job out front too. We will switch them around though, have a look at the second runs. Let's see what the judges make of our second run after this.
In the second half of this battle, Nico the Kid Stella is down the chase. Shishov Rupina in the lead. Coming in with some contact right off the rip on the initiation as they're going to outer zone 2 and 3, going to outer zone 4. And here we go, all the way through that second wall ride. Nico the Kid Stella knows he made contact, and he has to clean up this lap as he is going to this final outer zone. And oh, mercy.
So let's have a look here on our drone cam. Tells all, yeah, a little bit of contact there on initiation, but doesn't really upset Rupina too much as we come through along to outer zone 4 here to the outer wall. Very, very clean from Stella in the chase as we transition back to 5 and around again. The proximity is unbelievable here from both these drivers. We will see what the judges make of this one though. That, look at that, this Scootgo car looking lovely, waiting for its decision. But yeah, not a whole lot between these two drivers now, I don't think.
No. It's going to be a very big decision here. The judges have multiple camera angles. They'll review it and see what's going on. And the judges also have experience doing the actual drift masters. It's great to see the blend of real world and sim.
Yeah, like we've seen it in real life before. A lot of real life drivers, like we just saw Corpalinski there using the sim to prepare for Drift Masters rounds. We even got the likes of Connor Falvey doing the same, as we do get a decision here.
Left for Nico, right for Rupina. And the anticipation is intense. And it goes to Rupina, gets the win. Split decision. Puts a thumbs up in the sim cam as we drive off the track. And here we go. We have our next battle now. It's going to be Junin Warren versus Reese Tatterson. Reese Tatterson representing the RTR camp here, but with the Alan Hines livery there. They actually have a collaboration with the Fun Havers, which is awesome to see. That RTR Mustang, and we have James the Machine Dean in Drift Masters rocking the Mustang, but you have the black smoke from the Mercedes from Union Warren, who is a influential person in social media. Here we go. We got the first lap of this battle. Warren has been competing throughout each round of Virtual Drift Masters. Waiting for the lights. Reese Tatterson out here Gonna get as close as possible to that Mercedes as that Mercedes rips into that first outer zone after the initiation. Look at Reese Tatterson with the big, beefy American muscle Ford Mustang trying to get right close to that Mercedes as that Mercedes is rubbing that back bumper on that wall. Black smoke coming from the hood, going to the final 3 outer zones. Absolutely class act of a battle here from the lead driver and the chase.
Yeah, let's have a look at this. Obviously, Reese Tatterson has been around for a number of years. He knows what he's doing in that RTR Mustang. As we see that Mercedes running a beautiful line around this Ferropolis track, as Reese Tatterson not doing anything wrong in the chase that I can see here. Obviously, that car a lot bigger than that Mercedes. It can be quite hard for a chase driver to chase a smaller car. It can be quite difficult to place your car, especially when judges want to see you on that wing mirror and there's walls behind you everywhere. So Reese doing a good job there.
Yeah, Reese Tatterson, with that Mustang, longer wheelbase compared to that Mercedes, so he has a shallow up angle, but look at him getting right to angle, hitting outer zone 1, and a little bit of contact from Union Warren as they're going into outer zone 4. Reese Tatterson is hitting that wall, riding that back bumper on that wall, transitioning to the final 3 outer zones as we're seeing the final turn of this track in a beautiful, beautiful chase.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a look at what happened at the start there. So Reese Tatterson initiates and just handbrakes a little bit too much going through there, the decel, and there's a lot of contact there coming through the second clip. As we transition back, Reese trying to fix that line, gets back on it through outer zone 4. As we see the Mercedes push up on the door there, starting to trust the line there from Tatterson a little bit better. As we come around to the final clip and across the line, we will have to see what the judges make of that contact, who is deemed at fault.
Yeah, and Reese Tatterson was the previous champion that drove Peter's car, and that was a very highly viewed video of sim driver going into a real life drift car. Left for Union, right for Reese. And it looks like Warren gets the win, and this is the end of the road for Reese Tatterson.
Yeah, unfortunately, that contact, judges obviously deeming Reese at fault there for a bit more of a decel than they would have liked. So we will see him back for round 7 next in the PGE Nordovoi. And we get the next battle lined up, which I believe is Alexander Element and Paweł Corpalinski.
Paweł Corpalinski, you saw the interview earlier with him. Unfortunate results from Riga on the last Drift Masters event. But now he's here in the sim, competing, getting ready for the next battle. Here we go. Lights are getting ready. Alexander Element in the lead. Paweł Corpalinski in the right. Takes a nice deep breath. Focus, locked in. And here comes that jump with that S chassis. As Alexander Element is in that BMW coming in with a nice initiation and that e-brake so he can get to outer zone 1. Now going to outer zone 2. Beautiful fill out in the lead. Paweł Corpalinski angled up a little bit so he could transition and now surge into the pocket. Now going to outer zone 4. Good fill out on the lead. Transitioning to outer zone 5. A little bit of space between Paweł Corpalinski and the lead driver, which is something that I'm not used to seeing from him.
Yeah, a little bit of a gap there throughout the whole run, but again, that G87 is extremely fast. So the lead line here, not a whole lot to pick apart. It was fairly good, but in the chase here, we see that little bit of a gap, lack of proximity there. Paweł probably would have wanted to be a little bit closer there as we transition through the rest of the track here, coming up on the last clip and across the line we go. Yeah, not ideal for Paweł, a little bit to do in the lead run here.
Now Paweł's getting locked in. He is on the lead lap here. And Alexander Element trying to get a jump. Let's see how Paweł comes in with a more straight line initiation, going to that first outer zone, and then hit that e-brake so he could get that angle right. Going to outer zone 3, a little bit shallow on outer zone 3 compared to the other drivers. Going to outer zone 4. Look at Alexander Element just staying in his element right in the pocket of Paweł Corpalinski as they're going to the final outer zones. This is going to be
Definitely
unique.
will be interesting. So let's have a look here. So obviously these guys, like you said earlier, have spotters. So Alexander Element, knowing that all he has to do is be a little bit closer than what Corpalinski was in that first run. So Alexander not doing anything really out of the box here, but going close, which is what he needed to do. Powell doing a fairly good lead line, 1 or 2 clips there. Might have wanted to be a little bit deeper, but as we wait for a decision here, we have our 2 drivers, that beautiful S14 of Perro Corpalinski and that beautiful G87 of Alexander Element with that lovely Petronas livery.
And here he goes, left for Element, right for Corpalinski. He has that triple monitor set up. And it looks like they made a decision. We're waiting for the decision from the judges here. And it does look like Alexander Element gets the win and moves on. Paul Corpalinski seemed a little bit disappointed as he drove off. Here we go. Our next battle is going to be Nick Hang and Jordi Lopez. Nick Hang with that Sierra. Absolutely awesome to see him. And then you have Jordi Lopez from Dominican Republic. Dominicano. With a GR86. Nick Hang on the left in the sim cam. We got a battle of Ford versus Toyota in sim cams. Here we go. Nick Hang in the lead. Coming in with a nice weight transfer initiation. Oh, Jordi Lopez looks like he understeered going into that pocket of Nick Hang. Nick Hang just has to keep that line really clean and crisp while he's going through this lap. It looks like a huge mistake from Jordi Lopez from the beginning. Now he's cleaning it up in the chase. Going to the final turn. Oh, that's unfortunate for him.
That's unfortunate for Jordi. Very uncharacteristic mistake. And yeah, it looks like he just understeered coming into that initiation as Nick Hang puts it onto all of the walls here in that lovely little Ford Sierra. As we see Jordi Lopez try make amends there with the rest of the run, tries to get up close to that Sierra, but we will switch them around. Jordi knowing definitely he's at a little bit of a disadvantage there as we wait for the lights.
Nick Hang is now in the chase. Jordi Lopez in the lead. Drifting is a battle not only of machinery, but of the mind, of resilience. Let's see if Jordi Lopez has the resilience coming in to this initiation as he is going into that first turn, and that e-brake shallow on outer zone 1, going to outer zone 2, now getting a wider angle, looks like a tire drop, going to outer zone 3, then going to outer zone 4. Nice transition. Here comes Nick Hang, just hanging out to the door of Jordi Lopez as they're going to his final outer zones. And my, oh my, that was huge.
Yeah, let's have a quick look at that here. So on initiation, Jordi making sure he gets that initiation right this time round as we see Nick Hang jumping up onto the door of that Toyota as we transition back here now. Nick Hang not having to do all of this, getting that close, but he wants to make sure he has that battle in the bag in that Ford Sierra. He wants to get that car into top 16. Really, really tight technical run there from both drivers. Lead line, not a whole lot wrong, and the same in the chase as we do get a decision here. Left for Nick Hang, right for Jordi Lopez, and Nick Hang gets the win, I believe. Is that what flashed on our screen there?
I think that's what it was. I think Nick Hang got the win. Yep, unanimous decision, Nick Hang.
And unfortunately for Jordi Lopez, he is out of this round, one of our wildcard drivers.
Love seeing the wildcard drivers become in the top 32, man. It's so good to see. And then we have our next battle. These guys have battled each other a long time. A long time they've been battling since I've been commentating. You have Steven Jarboe and Cameron Mustard. AOM livery on one. These guys are... Steven Jarboe has been killing it with that RX-7 this year.
He has indeed. As can't rule out Cameron Mustard either, though. He has been one with that chassis for a very long time.
Here comes Steven Jarboe in the lead, coming in. Beautiful initiation. Gets to that first outer zone with that RX-7. American flag on top as Cameron Mustard is getting right to the pocket right here on the second wall ride. Steven Jarboe getting absolutely maniacal with that RX-7 going to the final 3 zones. Look at Cameron Mustard getting right to the pocket.
Yeah, as we go back here onto the replay, let's have a look from our drone cam. Cameron Mustard in the chase. Steven Jarboe to leave us out in that RX-7. Coming through here, very clean initiation from both drivers as Cameron puts that skyline up onto the door of the RX-7. Coming around here to outer zone 4, pushing very nice, not kind of over angling or trying to surge up on the door, making it nice and smooth from Cameron Mustard. Cameron Mustard really just doing Cameron Mustard things.
That needs to be a t-shirt.
Definitely one of the smoothest drivers I've ever competed against. I've come up against him a couple of times.
Here comes Steven Jarboe in the chase and going into the first outer zone. Look at Cameron Mustard getting to that first outer zone, getting locked to angle. Going to outer zone 3, transition to outer zone 4. Look at Steven Jarboe with that RX-7. A little bit forward in the pocket. Oh, massaging on the angle. Huge correction there. Going to outer zone 5. Buttery smooth. Look at the proximity from that RX-7 as they finish the lap.
Yeah, definitely a lot of proximity from the RX-7 there in this second half of this run as we come through. Again, this initiation, we always see a little bit of a gap there as we come around through outer zone 3 or transition back to outer zone 4. This is where we really see the proximity come alive as Jarboe really pushes up on the side of that skyline, and here wheel to wheel getting into the door of the skyline. Really, really clinical driving there from Steven Jarboe in that RX-7. You hear the rotary going there, a little brap, brap, brap.
Baby got brap. Here is left on Jarboe, right on Mustard with that R32 on the right. Something that he has been always competing in, and it looks like Cameron Mustard gets the win and moves on.
Yeah, Cameron been driving that car for many, many years with that same livery, by the way. That old Jap Speed Maxxis livery is kind of a staple for him now. He will never leave that car, I don't think. I've never seen him outside of it. So
Yeah.
we will move it along to the next battle.
Unless it's for his fun comps, so he usually messes around with other chassis, but that's been his signature. Whereas 2 more battles on the left side of the bracket. You got Adrian Roncero versus Joachim Hauge. Joachim Hauge in that E30. One of my favorite cars here on the track, on the sim world. Loving how it looks. And Roncero with the A90 Supra. Escuco team coming out here with the big old wang on the back of that A90. Here comes Adrian Roncero going to that first outer zone, little midline, going to outer zone 2 and 3. And look at Joachim Hauge matching the angle, going, oh, huge surge into the pocket, massaging that left foot brake so he can stay close proximity but not make contact. Another huge surge from Joachim Hauge going to the final track. Oh my goodness.
Very, very tidy run there from both drivers. So initiation, again, that little bit of a car length gap as we come through that E30, having to cut a bit of line to get up onto the door. The A90 Supra there from Roncero as we transition back through to outer zone 4. A little bit of a float area there. You can see that chase car absolutely surge up onto the door. As we come around again, you see that surge again, making a huge dive there is Joachim Hauge as it come across the line. Not a sheet of paper going between those 2 cars.
Yeah, Joachim Hauge and Adrian Roncero, another 2 veterans of the sim community. You know what, Ken? Let's hear your half of this battle. I wanna get a play-by-play from you.
Let's go for a play-by-play then. As we get the lights going green, we get the 2 cars off the line. A little bit of a jump there from Roncero as we come into outer zone 1. Straight onto the wall goes Joachim Haig. Round outer zone 2 to outer zone 3. Look at the chase run here from Roncero right up on the door of that E30 as we come through outer zone 4. Roncero massaging that A90 up onto the E30 as we come around through to the last zones here. A90 right on the door of the E30 is exactly what we want to see from both drivers.
Beautiful performance here. You got Joachim Haig in that first outer zone, locks into angle after outer zone 1. And here comes Adrian Roncero. He's going to figure out where he needs to transition, then comes out of the smoke, gets close to the front of the car of the E30. And here comes Joachim Haig going to each zone, and Roncero doing what he does best, trying to get the proximity and match angle. And we're going to see the judge's decision here from these two drivers.
Yeah,
slide him left
slide
for
him left for
Roncero.
Roncero.
Slide him right for Hauge. And Roncero gets the win and moves on.
Yeah, so we'll move it along to the next battle. And who do we have? We have
Robert Brjinski versus Braden Swan, another member of the AOM crew. Robert Brjinski has been slugging it out with the pros out here throughout each round. He's in that like matte green A90. And you have Braden Swan
very
in that
military
370Z. Yeah. Here we go. Braden Swan in the chase. Robert Brjinski in the lead with his signature harnessed in this sim rig. I love the vibe he has here. Every time I see him on the sim rig getting locked in. And here comes Braden Swan. Brjinski comes into that first outer zone, hitting that e-brake so he can get to that back bumper on that wall, going to outer zone 2. Outer zone 3 beautifully filled out from the lead driver. Here comes that AOM 370Z going to the fourth outer zone. Now going to his final last turn. And beautiful fill out from the lead driver, but look at Braden Swan. Wow.
Yeah, definitely two very equal length cars, wheelbase wise here. So a little bit of a gap there on initiation as we see them come a little bit closer in proximity now, and we really see the chase pulling up on top of that A90 Supra there, really able to dial in on the angle, speed and line. So look at that there, like wheel to that door, pushing across the line is Braden Swan.
Yeah, it looked like Braden Swan was late on the transition from outer zone 3 to 4 from what I was observing on that drone cam. But look at Brjinski getting locked in, getting ready for the lights. He's going to do a jump. He knows how Braden Swan drives. And here is the start. Braden Swan coming out here. Let's see if he spreads his wings out. And it looks like a little bit of contact in the first part of this lap. Now going to outer zone 4. Now look at the left foot braking from Braden Swan so he can stay in that zone as deep as possible to the final 3 outer zones. Look at Brjinski now massaging the speed so he can stay in close proximity to Braden Swan.
Yeah, let's have a look here. Brjinski not given an inch on initiation here as he does fall back a little bit. No contact. Looks a little bit of a gap forming there as we transition back onto outer zone 4, bumper to bumper. What a transition there from Brjinski as we come around into another little flow there. You can see the little bit of partial throttle going through, but look at the proximity here. Two very equal length cars. It makes it quite easy for the chase to really surge up onto the door because you just need to place your front wheel at their front wheel as we do get a decision here.
And Brjinski gets the win and moves on. Great battle from both of these drivers. Unfortunate
He is
for
very much locked
Braden
in
Swan.
there.
Oh yeah, we had, I think it was Riga where he hit the wall, and Alec was saying that he needed the EMT because how hard he hit that wall. I think he was the one that flipped. I believe it was him. It was one of the guys. But man,
He
this is
was
the second
very
half
safe
of
either way.
yeah. So throughout this whole battle, we top 32. We're halfway through it. What are you looking forward to on the second half, as well as what you've seen in the first half?
Well, I'm really excited. The proximity from every chase driver here is nuts. It is, the driving here is clinical. It makes it very, very hard for the judges, which as drift fans, that's what we like to see. But there's a few battles here we really want to see in the second half of this top 32. Ernestus Jukublis versus Vestimanis is one of them I really want to see. And also Vitaly Azev versus Samuel Cody is another one. Some really, really big heavy hitters in the second half of this top 32.
Yeah, Jaku and Vestimanis is going to be an insane battle. Austria versus Jagger is going to be an absolute slugfest too. So we do have Zach O'Sullivan versus Kleinberg and Virgil Choices versus Alan Hines too. So if, say, Zach O'Sullivan meets up with Alan Hines in the top 16, this is a big battle for the point standing. It's insane.
Yeah, we really want to see that top 16 battle. I think everybody's hoping that we see Alan Hines and Zach O'Sullivan in that top 16 together. Two of the championship leaders fighting it out. Let's be honest, two of the guys have been around for years. These guys, Alan Hines goes back to the R Factor days on the sim. He's been around since one of the beginnings of sim drifting. So, and then Zach O'Sullivan as well, another unbelievable heavy hitter who's been around for a number of years as well. So let's go through, we'll relax for a minute. We'll watch our top 32 first before we get too far ahead into top 16. But yeah, definitely these drivers have a lot of work to do even before top 16. Both Zach O'Sullivan and Alan Hines have one whole battle each to go through.
Yeah, and Zach,
he's pioneered some of the best tracks we've ever seen in European drifting. So we really like to see Alan on track as well, because he knows these tracks inside and out. He spends so much time getting good on the sim. As we go into our first battle of this half of the top 32, Zach O'Sullivan versus Kleinbergs.
Yeah, and here he goes. Zach O'Sullivan with that E36. Actually, it's very similar to his real life car. He did purchase a real drift car last year, I believe. So you could use the sim and kind of practice what he needs to do to get that car set up. But here's the lights. Zach O'Sullivan, our points leader in the championship, and getting into that first outer zone, rubbing that back bumper on the wall. Look at Kleinberg. Kleinberg trying to get as close proximity as possible and transitioning to outer zone 4. Kleinberg with Racing Team Riga trying to surge into the pocket. Transition bumper to bumper, going to the final outer zones. Look at Kleinberg go with Zach O'Sullivan.
Amazing chase driving there from Kleinberg. That RT Riga driver pushing up on that FK Sim Solutions E36. Look at the proximity here. Not a whole lot going wrong for either driver. A few little corrections, very, very minor as we transition back through outer zone 4. Zach O'Sullivan right on that wall, absolutely pinning that E36 around the outer zones here. But look at the proximity from Kleinberg's here in that GT86, doing an incredible job in that chase position. Let's see how we do in the lead now for Kleinberg's.
Yep, Kleinberg's been putting it out there, and you have him now in the lead. RTR, not to confuse with the Funhavers, but Racing Team Riga going to this first outer zone, hitting that e-brake. Look at Zach O'Sullivan now trying to get that front tire to the door of Kleinberg, and as Kleinberg going to outer zone 4, Zach O'Sullivan a little bit far behind from Kleinberg, and trying to shallow up the line so he could keep that proximity as close as possible. Going to his final outer zones, you saw that left foot brake from Zach O'Sullivan to keep that proximity. And now this is going to be a huge decision for the judges. Tit for tat.
Yeah, absolutely. Very even battle here. Maybe a little bit less proximity from Zach in the first half of this run. But seeing here, transitions back through outer zone 4 and starts to massage that E36 up onto the door of that GT86. As we have Kleinberg's doing an incredible lead line around this Ferropolis sim version of the track. A little bit different to what we're used to seeing with Ferropolis, but these drivers adapting very, very nicely as we wait for a decision from our judges.
And it looks like Sullivan gets the win and moves on.
Yeah, very clean battle there from both drivers. I think the judges maybe just looking at Zach's style there, very, very fluid throughout his chase run and his lead run. Everything was very smooth. So maybe that's what the judges are going for on that. As we go to our next battle.
Our next battle here, you have Alan Hines. He's going to be in the chase. Virgil Choice is in the lead. So this year, if you've been following Drift Masters, the higher seeded qualifying gets to choose if they want to chase first or lead first. And here is Alan Hines with the sim cam on the bottom right, and Virgil Choice hits being a cyberpunk in his VR headset and sim rig, coming into that first outer zone with a big old weight transfer, going to that first outer zone. Beautiful fill out. Alan Hines straightens out and goes into drift, and again has to reinitiate. Now he's going to surge into the pocket as Virgil Choice needs to complete this lap. The Frenchman going all the way through each zone as best as possible.
Yeah, so let's just have a look there. What happened in the chase to Alan Hines? We initiate in quite cleanly here, maybe just overcooking it slightly and pumping on the brakes, send them very inside. Trying to fix that there as this transition bumper to bumper right back onto the door of choice here. As we transition back around here, Alan Hines doing everything he can to try get anything back from that little bit of a disadvantage there. Maybe the judges will see something that we didn't see. Maybe there was too much of a decel there in the lead, but we will switch them around anyway. And we will get Virgil Choice to chase in Alan Hines.
And here is Alan Hines in the lead. Virgil Choice's door breakers coming out here. Let's see, he'll break the door of Alan Hines. Going to outer zone 2 and outer zone 3. Beautiful fill out from the Drift Masters driver as he is going into outer zone 4. Locked into angle, filling it all the way out. Getting right to outer zone 5. Beautiful, smooth transition. But look at Virgil Choice's matching angle of that S chassis.
Yeah, definitely a much cleaner run this half of the battle. We see Choice get up onto the door of Alan Hines. Really, he can trust Alan in that lead position. Alan is very, very technical in his leads. As we come around here, not a whole lot to talk about. We see Choice doing an absolutely killer job breaking down the door of Alan Hines, that door breaker's driver, as you said. As we get a lovely view of some DS15 Strom wheels on that E36, I believe it is. As we wait for a decision to come through.
Look at Alan Hines just leaning
He
back.
is stressed. Yeah, and we get Virgil Choice gets the win. So we will not get that top 16 battle between Alan Hines and Zach Sullivan, unfortunately. Unlucky there for Alan Hines. Him waving the finger,
man,
no,
Alan
there,
Hines.
he's not disagreeing with something, so.
We're gonna get, let's get a quick judge's thoughts on that battle, see what's going on from one of our judges here. Chris Wachowski is in the call, I believe. Waiting for him to get up here. We have the next battle here. Steven Terasoff and Gert Kubersep. Gert Kubersep is going to be in the chase.
New and
Alright,
old BMWs in this battle too.
Yep, here we go. Steven Terasoff or Stanislav Terasoff in the lead with that BMW. And look at Gert Kubersep getting a different line in the chase, which was unique, but gets him into the pocket. Going to outer zone 4 and now surging. Wow, surging forward, getting door to door with Stanislav Terasoff as we're going to the final 3 outer zones. Beautiful fill out from that lead driver. I wonder what happened on that beginning lap. The beginning half of the lap.
Well, let's have a look. So a little bit of a gap there as we we've seen that before in other runs, a little bit of a gap developing, and then once we get around here to outer zone 4, this is really where we see the chase driver start to massage up onto the door of the lead. And no different in this battle, as we see the proximity really getting dialed in throughout this run, that E36 pinning it onto the door of that G87. And we will switch them around. We will have Gert Coopersap in the lead.
Terasoff is going to be in the chase. Coopersap! Let's see if he'll come out here being absolute gangster. And he is awake, hitting that first outer zone. And then going to outer zone 2 and 3. A little bit shallow on 3. Going to outer zone 4. Oh, wall tap from the lead driver. Huge mistake as they're going to the final 3 outer zones. And my, oh my, a little bit of contact at the end.
Yeah, let's have a look here what happens. So we'll have a look at the lead here, really focusing in as we see just a little bit of hesitation there, but really here, this is where we're looking. That little tag on the wall there was enough. He did over-angle coming out of 3 a little bit, getting that transition a little bit late. That would have pushed him a little bit wider than he would have liked. And then that little bit of contact at the end there. So we will have to see what the judges make of that one. Definitely not ideal for either driver to be dealing with mistakes, but these things happen. This is drifting. We will have a look now as we wait for a decision. We see both those beautiful BMWs sitting, waiting to hear what our judges think of their runs.
Yeah, these two drivers, all these drivers on the VDM, they're not, just because they're not in the top 15 of the season standings or any of like qualifying, all the drivers in VDM have a resume, and they've been around the scene for a while. So any of these drivers could definitely win the competition. But look at this. We got the judge's decision. Stanislav Terasoff to the left. Gert Coopersap to the right. And then Terasoff gets the win and moves on.
Yeah, I think the judges just looking at that little mistake there from Coopersap in his lead, just the late transition, and that pushed him wide as well. So we will go back to the line here. Who do we have on the line?
We have Ernestus Jaku versus Armand Vestimanis. Jaku was last year's VDM champ. He's been slugfesting it along throughout each round. And we got our next lined up. Jaku versus Armand Vestimanis. Armand's chilling there. All relaxed. Getting ready. One hand on the wheel. Locked into the drift zone. Going to this first outer zone. Jaku. Beautiful angle. Going to that first outer zone, second outer zone. Oh my goodness. Just no corrections from what I see so far. And then Jaku going to that fourth zone, rubbing that back bumper on that wall. And Armand Vestimanis, I think it was drifting with one hand the whole time, like an absolute boss.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's have a look. Let's break it down. So initially, look at the chase drive from Armand. He jumps the angle very, very fast at the start of that scoring zone. A little bit of a gap there as we come around. He would have wanted to be a little bit closer as we come around, and this is where the proximity really starts to happen. So we transition back down through a little bit of a float. He starts to push up onto the side of Jaku there and across the line. Jaku doing a killer lead line there, as we would expect. Jaku, he does lead lines and he does them perfect every time. I've never seen it go wrong. So
and you see Jaku on the back of his windshield, his rear windshield. I love it how he embraced the nickname. But here comes Armand Vestimanis going to his initiation point, shallow on outer zone 1. Jaku is still following him, following that lead line. That's what we want the chase drivers to do. Bumper to bumper transition, go to outer zone 4 as they're rubbing tires on the doors. If this was real life, there would be a lot of black marks on that door as they're finishing off this lap.
Yeah, let's have a look at that. Very, very tidy chase run here from Jaku as we initiate in. Just leaves a little bit of room there just to see what happens with that GT86 as we come around here. Lead line is very, very on point as we come down through outer zone 4 here. Jaku doing an incredible job in the chase here, just giving him enough room to transition, getting back up on that door nice and quickly. Exactly what the judges are looking for there from Jaku. He knows what he's doing. But again, not a bad battle either from either driver. Armin's Vestimanis knowing what he's doing to that RT Riga driver in that GT86.
And here we go. Jaku gets the win and moves on. Great job from Jaku Bellis. Armand's Vestimanis, great sportsmanship. Is smiling about that battle. Love these guys, how they, the sportsmanship in the drift community. Oh, man.
Yeah, you kind of have to have
Big
that, though.
smile.
Everybody's friends, everybody practices together. Especially at this level, it can be, you really want to be practicing with the best of the best, so you're going to practice with the people you're driving against. As we go to our next battle, a very interesting one I'm quite excited about. Vitaly Isaiah versus Samuel Cody.
Yeah. Samuel Cody and Vitaly Isaiah. Two great drivers that they're so fun to watch. And here we go, Vitaly Isaiah, Sam Cody in the chase. Here comes Vitaly Isaiah hitting that e-brake, trying to get to that first outer zone, but look at Sam Cody going right there, matching the line. Now transitioning to outer zone 4. Beautiful fill out. Look at Sam Cody trying to surge into the pocket and stay right there. Another bumper to bumper transition going to outer zone 5. Oh, mercy. As they're finishing this lap, great proximity. I don't know if matching angle was there from Cody.
Yeah, that BMW very quick. Sam would have been doing everything he can to keep up with the side of that car. As we come through outer zone 3, we transition back here, bumper to bumper. Really, really clean transition there from both drivers. Sam doing exactly what he needs to do is try get up on the side of that door, mimic as best he can Vitaly in that really, really clean Z4 there. Just a really, it's not even a Z4, is it? It is. Just hooked up. He knows that car inside and out, and all of he's just like Jaku. He knows exactly what he needs to do in the lead run, and he just does it. As we get green lights.
Here we go. Vitaly Isaiah now in the chase. Now getting right to the door, right off the rip. A little bit of shallow angle so he can surge forward in the pocket. Huge angle right before the transition from Sam Cody as he is going to outer zone 4. Now 5, he gets that angle. Now he's going to massage it more so he can get all the way through each zone. And look at Cody going gangster.
Yeah, absolutely. Unbelievable lead line there from Sam Cody, doing exactly what the judges are expecting him to do. But look at Vitaly Isaiah in the chase there, dropping the bonnet of that Z4 underneath the wing of the E46 on every transition. As a chase driver, you really just do need to learn to trust the lead driver in exactly what they're going to do, and Vitaly is definitely doing that. Same way Sam did in the first half of this battle. So we will see what the judges make of that one.
Left for Isaiah, and it looks like Isaiah gets the win and moves on. And now we have Darius the Don Austriaca versus Alexander Jagger. These two guys are impeccable when it comes into tandeming. Unfortunately, we've seen Darius's brother in the bracket. This round, we did not see him qualify for it, which is unfortunate. But Jaku, Austriaca, and the Austriaca brothers are also on the same team together. Look at Darius getting locked in, just getting his gloves right, feeling right, just like a batter in baseball, just adjusting it, getting ready for the green light. As Darius Austriaca comes in, and oh my goodness, huge e-brake pull going to outer zone 1. He saw that mistake there. Now transitioning to outer zone 4 after that first turn. Now it looks a lot more buttery smooth. Going to outer zone 5. Transition is good. Look at Alexander Jagger. And wow.
Yeah,
Alex
let's have a
Jager
look at
doing
what
a great
happened
job
there
in
at the
chase.
start. That big e-brake pull, like you mentioned, that decel zone does end just before outer zone 1, so you would want to be on power before then, but Jaeger doing a very good job to adjust for that. As we see both drivers coming around through into outer zone 5 here, another little float zone, they call it. Little partial throttle there, doing a very tidy job is Jaeger in the chase position as we will switch them around.
All right, Darius Austriaca is now going to be chasing down Alex Jaeger. And here are the lights. And Alex Jaeger going to that first out of zone. Look at the Don Austriaca getting to that pocket where you need to be. And now braking really hard so he can transition, coming out of the smoke, getting right to the door of Jaeger. Transitioning bumper to bumper yet again. Oh, mercy. Doors all the way around the track.
Yeah, Ostrika, one of them really, really entertaining chase drivers. Look at this right from the get-go, right on the door from the start of the scoring zone, coming around here in that Benedictus Turbo replica there as we come around through outer zone 4 here. Perfectly matching angle and speed going through all of these zones around the full track here. Both drivers doing a killer job in both their leads and chases. This will be a very, very hard one to call for the judges. They will have to have a chat about this one.
There's the Don Austriaca right there in that right side BMW Aeros Marine sponsor, title sponsor for him. And it's actually a lot of people, they look at these cars and they look at these sponsors. They are actually getting sponsored from these companies, which is beautiful to see. These companies going into the sim world and esports arena. Left for Austriaca, right for Jaeger. Oh, Austriaca is just patiently waiting.
Yeah, judges will deliberate this one. Very tight battle here for both drivers, both in the same car as well, so it makes it really easy when you're, oh, and we do have a one more time. There we go. So judges not able to call that one. David Calasto going for a striker. So we will see the one more time anyway.
You saw Australia talking to his spotter?
Yep, absolutely. He would have been looking for every bit of information in that battle.
Yeah, it's it. We were talking about that earlier. And how these guys, I think his brother might be spotting for him, which is awesome to see. Family affair here. And it looks like the judges said there was mistakes by both on the lead run, so they decided to do it one more time here. Now Austriaca in the lead. Jaeger in the chase. Our one more time battle here in the top 32. Austriaca going into that first outer zone, getting to that outer zone. Beautiful fill out, going to outer zone 2. Great, lock to angle. Now he has to transition, buttery smooth, and man, Jaeger comes out of the smoke, going to outer zone 4, transitioning to outer zone 5. Blind transition there, but look at how close proximity. I would love to see more matching of angle from Jaeger, me personally.
Yeah, so let's have a look here. Let's see what we can pick apart here. So coming through, really nice initiation, straight up onto the door goes Jaeger. As we transition back through into outer zone 4 here, just a little bit of separation, then really that proximity gets made up very, very quick. Again though, right here is what I think you were seeing, that angle matching. But again, Ostrika is such a quick driver, knows that car inside and out. We'll switch them around. Darius Ostrika to chase out Jaeger.
I think there might have been contact from outer zone 3 to 4. It looked like it a little bit, just a little kiss as Austriaca was transitioning to outer zone 4. But here he comes in the chase. Huge initiation from Austriaca as he is getting right to the door, rubbing him through. outer zone 2, but then has to slow down a huge amount in the chase. But going to outer zone 4, look how close the proximity. Austria locking in angle, getting right to the pocket, going all the way through that final outer zone.
Wow. Striker pushing so hard here. Look at this right off the bat, straight onto the door. It is amazing, but here has to check up to let Jagger just do a bit of transition, but again, pushes straight back up there. Definitely giving the judges something to talk about there. Not happy as a striker to do it one more time. And look at the proximity here. The fluidity is unbelievable. It is nuts how good this guy is. He is a robot.
Man, Darius the Don Austriaca in the chase was giving my man over here an offer he couldn't refuse. Wow, Jagger, it's so great when the lead driver does what he needs to do and he's not even paying attention to how close the chase driver is, because one is pretty unrealistic to look over your shoulder in a competition setting with these horsepower cars. But it's kind of like a yeah, you can feel it. Yeah.
No, striker. Like I said earlier on, as a chase driver, you need to learn how to trust everyone who's leading you out. And like Isaiah, Ostrike has just figured that out. He just knows, right, I need to be on the door here. So he does that. He doesn't think about it. He doesn't question, oh, what's he gonna do here. Mm-hmm. He goes, right, I need to aim for that door. I'm going to go there. So he does. It is unbelievable how his mindset just focuses in. And not even with D-cells and stuff, he's right there. Like, there was that little bit of a checkup, but really it wasn't anything too ridiculous and nothing that we wouldn't see anywhere else as we wait for a decision to come through here.
It looks like left for Ostrika, right for Jagger. And Ostrika gets the win! It moves on. We got a little quick explanation from the judges. It was a great chase in the proxy and aggression from Darius. Wow. Now we have the last two battles of the last top 32, or of the top 32 on the right side. It will be Daniel Andrev and Gasawiski versus Wallman versus Theopolin. I would have the judges come in here and talk about that last battle, but we all saw that battle. We saw how crazy it was, and even the people in the chat was like, wow. Here we go. Andrev on the left, Gasawiski in the right. You're cracking his knuckles with a big old smile. I saw that, buddy. And the chase with the BMW. Here comes Andreev coming in. And that E-brake going to the outer zone 1. In the midline. Look at Gasawiski. Wow. Getting close proximity on outer zone 2. Going to outer zone 4 right here. And rubbing that back bumper on the wall is Andreev. As he's going to outer zone 5. Using that left foot brake so he can tuck that back bumper in deep to zones. My oh my.
What a lead run from young Andreev here. Let's have a look at this. Andreev perfectly through that first outer zone. But look, a little bit of contact there maybe between the two drivers as we transition back bumper to bumper. Chase having to check up a little bit there, a bit too close before the transition as we come back around outer zone 5 through that partial throttle zone. And round through 6 and across through 7 and across the line. A very tidy run here from both drivers, other than that little bit of contact. But we will see what happens in the second half of this battle.
Yeah, there's a difference between the context that we've seen earlier. There's a difference between like a contact sport and rubbing is racing. There it was rubbing is racing. Here comes Andreev in the chase as Gasawiski in the lead. And man, oh man, the angle with that BMW with the beautiful proximity livery going to outer zone 4. And my oh my, you see Andreev coming in, getting close to the pocket, surging right there, trying to get that angle all the way through, and he is matching it to the finish line.
Yeah, that angle to begin with was incredible out in the lead here. Just bang, straight 90 degrees to the corner was unbelievable. Andrev dealing with that well though as we transition back here through outer zone 4. Look at the proximity here from young Andrev as we transition back through 5 and 6. Andrev cutting a little bit of angle there just to stay up, but right on that door. Unbelievable set of runs here from both drivers.
I wanna point out on, I think it was outer zone 1, when they angled up. They both angled up at the same time. It was like Andrev had a like mind waves going between the lead driver and the chase driver, and they did the same thing at the same time. It was awesome to see. Here we go. Left for Andrev, right for Gasawiski. And it looks like Andrev gets the win and moves on. Thumbs up from Andrev. As we're going into our final battle of our top 32. Wallman versus our wild card. We got Theopolin. I'm gonna call him T-Dog. His name makes my speech impediment come out worse. T-Dog, he competed last round. He's in that S15. He's gonna be in the chase. You got Wallman, who loves walls. Love rubbing that back bumper on that wall. We'll see him in the lead, looking like a Cyberpunk character. And you got T-Dog on the right. Locked in, getting ready. All these guys have sim rigs, using wheels to control their cars. Look at T-Dog trying to get to the pocket as Wallman is getting to each wall, getting right to the back bumper on there. A little bit of distance to that outer zone 3 wall, but here comes outer zone 4. T-Dog is surging forward in the pocket, being super aggressive as he is cutting the line a little bit, just trying to get that proximity throughout each zone, which is a great tactic as a chase driver in the first lap.
Yeah, just something I noticed there watching that run on the driver's sim cams. T-Dog on that handbrake just to slow that car down a lot. He's dabbing that handbrake, making sure he's not running into that lead car. Very interesting technique. A lot of guys tend to go for left foot brake. Some guys tend to do the handbrake with throttle modulation and stuff like that. But T-Dog opting for that handbrake jabs, but doing a very tidy job in both the lead and chase from both drivers.
It's a very old school style to keep the proximity and making sure the speed is right, which is great to see.
And keep it smooth as well with the handbrake jab.
Yeah.
Is very impressive.
It's great to see that kind of technique because, yeah, you don't see that very often. You're correct. A lot of people rely on that left foot brake to modulate the speed. But here comes Wallman coming in to the lead. Let's see how Wallman performs here. Jabbing that e-brake, going to that first outer zone. T-Dog is right there in the lead, being an absolute class act with his lead run and getting that back bumper on that wall. Look at Wallman getting close proximity, a little far back on outer zone 5, but going to the final outer zone. Close battle here.
Yeah, very, very clean lead run there from our wildcard driver as we transition around through, well, not transition, as we drive through and transition through into outer zone 4 here. This is where we usually see drivers push up on the door of the lead, and he does try to get there, but doesn't massage as much as he'd like to, and a little bit of a gap there, not as much proximity as you would have wanted. As he does get closer, coming up to the line, we will see what the judges make of all of this. Smooth from both drivers as well. I'm very impressed with how fluid all of the drivers today have been. There wasn't any major like chops or anything like that with any drivers this top 32. So interesting to see as we do get a decision to drop in.
Last battle of the top 32. Let's see. Wallman or T-Dog. Love the car models that these guys put time and effort in, or even they invest money into the sim, so they have 3D modelers get what they want from their cars. You got the Underglow, the Freeman Drift team from Wallman. And
Yeah, a lot of the work gone into these 3D models. I've seen it firsthand. One of my teammates does all our modeling for our whole team. It's insane. Even the level of talent you have to make a car, never mind drive it, is unbelievable. And to get the details right as well. A lot of these cars even have movable fans. And we have one more time.
One more time. Wallman versus T-Dog. Oh, T-Dog takes a big sigh of relief. But I think he's just, all right, let me get another 2 laps in. We'll be all right. Yeah, you're definitely right about the time and effort these guys put into these cars. I've also seen it firsthand, freaking weeks on end from Geronimo Designs with making tracks from me hanging out with him. And you also got Colin from CM Racing. He puts hours and hours on end. And these 2 guys have full-time jobs too. They do it for the passion and the love of the community. It's great to see. Here we go. Wallman in the lead. T-Dog in the chase. And a little bit of a rubbing on that first point of initiation. But here comes T-Dog trying to match angle, get close proximity as Wallman's going to each zone. Rubbing that back bumper on the wall. Look at T-Dog getting super close. Probably a little bit of rubbing. And then cheats the line. Oh no! Contact on outer zone 5. And Wallman was trying to fight through it.
Yeah, let's have a look at what happened here. First, to start off, the run was very, very clean. Both drivers cleanly through the first 3 sections of the track. As we transition back here, though, very close transition. You can see T-Dog push up on the side of that S15 there. To transition back, this is where we see the contact just edging in. I think T-Dog just trying to cut a bit of angle to get closer where he really didn't need to, but yeah, they're just pushing Wallman into the wall.
Yeah, it's this is where we were talking about. There's a difference between rubbing and racing and making drifting a contact sport. In real life, you'll see Wallman probably getting checked out by EMTs and getting his car set up. But here is T-Dog going in the lead, getting close proximity to the first outer zone. Now going to outer zone 3, rubbing that back bumper on the wall. Transition to outer zone 4 as Wallman is getting right close and trying to keep a good distance with T-Dog, but getting good proximity as well as they're finishing off this lap.
Yeah, absolutely. Wallman doing an incredible job there to chase in T-Dog. As a lot of people will ask, why is Wallman pushing so hard if he has the upper hand here, he has an advantage? Well, this is the thing. If they do have spotters, the spotters are taking their best guess and they're interpreting what the judges might think. So they can't guarantee. So a lot of drivers will just push anyway and get up on the door because they cannot guarantee that they have that advantage. So it is really down to what drivers prefer, as we do wait for a decision here.
T-Dog waiting for the decision. Wallman is getting the win with the thumbs up. He looks like he's entering the Matrix with his VR goggles.
They're cool VR goggles.
Man. Yeah. Here we go. We have our top 16 here. One thing we were talking about earlier was the Alan Hines and Jaku Sullivan's possible matchup. So Jaku Sullivan is our points leader. He's on the top right of the top 16 here. He's going to be going against Virgil Choices. Stanislav Terasoff versus Jaku. Vitaly Isaiah versus Darius Ostriaka. And Andrev versus Wallman. Wow.
Yeah, really good top 32 there. And let's be honest, this is going to set it up for the top 16. It's going to be even more interesting and closer for everybody.
And here's Rose. How do you like the top 32 so far, Rose? Oh. We're having some technical difficulties with you, Rose. Your mic is not on. We're waiting for that to come through. Okay.
Sorry, guys. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you, Rose.
Great. Okay, guys, look, that was a bit of a roller coaster. Some unexpected upsets, right? Notably, Alan Hines, early accident top 32. But, overall, some really clean, good driving overall. And you know, I have to say, one of the highlights for me, Darius and Alexander. Oh my God, like they really stood out. Great commitment from both those drivers. And yeah, definitely the highlight for me.
Yeah, that was an insane battle seeing both of those guys. They competed last year. They were sluggers last year too, so it was awesome to see that. Again, what are you excited? This is your first round as a commentator here for VDM. You probably watched it as a spectator. Like, how is the experience so far?
It's unbelievable. The level of talent here is just unmatched. But like you said, I've watched this before. I've been around for a number of years watching in the background and doing some driving in other series. But the level of talent with these guys, these are the best of the best. These guys are hand-picked. They all deserve to be here. Between the guys who even didn't qualify, they also deserve to be here. Look at the wild cards we had through this, even in top 32. They're unbelievable too. So it's very interesting to see in the top 16 what will actually happen with a lot of the guys. Like, looking at that bracket, we've got some really heavy hitters for our top 16. So I'm really excited for the rest of this event. It's going to be huge talent and a lot of close battles, I would think. I don't think we're done with one more times.
No, I don't think so either. And then, bros, you have an interview after this short break, this 5-minute break we're going to have here. Who are you interviewing for the people that are watching?
Okay, so I've asked Alan Hines to come on just to get his perspective on what happened in top 32. And then we're also going to catch up with our top qualifier from yesterday, Brandon Patrick.
Yeah, he got a 99.25. That's insane.
Crazy. I know.
Wow.
Crazy. So yeah, I'm very interested to get a rundown of the layout from his perspective as well.
Yeah, and you've been absolutely stellar with your interview. So throughout the whole series, it's a great addition to have you. And Ian was talking about the sim cams. What do you think about the sim cams this year compared to last year's virtual Drift Masters?
You know, I think it's incredible because you can actually even see the tension and the concentration on the driver's face. It's a totally different experience when you get to see the drivers compared to just seeing a car on the track. So yeah, I think it's the way to go. And it gives the drivers a lot of credit and well-deserved media coverage. Again, as I said before, we don't normally get to see the faces behind the names. So it's absolutely brilliant, in my opinion.
Oh, it's definitely awesome. And now we're going to be taking our 5-minute break, and then you'll see the interview with Rose as we talk to our competitors, and then we'll get to our top 16 here at Virtual Drift Masters.
Oh, the shadow packs the wall, almost throws it away as Hines backs it in across the line. Oh, the shadow tags the wall, almost throws it away as Hines backs it in across the line.
Unbelievable again. What a final. What a finish. Rory Hines is your 2024 champion.
Chcesz, aby twoje wydarzenie wyglądało jak finał Mistrzostw Świata? Wiemy, co pokazać na ekranie, zanim widz zdąży o tym pomyśleć. Ragnar Simulator. Od idei do transmisji.
Guys, I'm joined by our second in points, Alan Hines, and our top qualifier yesterday, Brandon Patrick. Alan, jumping over to you first. Top 32 exit today. Not ideal for the championship, but please tell us what happened from your perspective.
Yeah, look, it's a fairly frustrating experience, to be honest with you. It's a very grey area, I think, of what happened. I don't think it was any dirty driving or anything like that, but to me, it looks like that the decel was initiated about 15 meters early. And, you know, in drifting, decels can be approached two ways. You can use the handbrake or you could left foot brake through it. And Virgil left foot braked all the way along the wall. And you can even see it in the replay as well, or on the stream. Especially the replay camera, you can see his front wheel lock up as we just hit the kink of the corner, which is like 15 meters earlier for what the zone, diesel zone admits us. So for me, it was like initiating in there. Everyone else I've chased, I was going through there fine with in practice. I've also had some time to review everything that's happened as well beforehand. I watched Virgil's qualifying runs too, and he's doing the same thing since qualifying yesterday. So, I mean, it's kind of on me for not checking up on that. But I didn't expect anyone to be able to do that kind of technique through there, because it requires a lot of left foot braking, a lot of angle. And yeah, it's quite a tricky kind of thing to pull off. So he managed to make it work. It paid off. It worked in his favor. I think now everyone knows what he's been doing. So I think people now know going on, like if they're chasing, to give some more space there, which it's not the ideal thing. You know, we want chaseable lead runs, and I don't feel that's 100% chaseable in my personal opinion. So it is what it is, but we move on, and we'll see you guys in the finals.
Yeah, well, Alan, obviously it's great to get the feedback. So, I mean, your championship dreams now, how are you feeling about them?
Oh, I haven't even thought about that, to be honest with you. I don't really, like, at the end of the day, this is a video game, and you know, we take it all super seriously here. But the reality is, it's a game, and you don't want to get too sucked up into it, of course. But at the end of the day, you know, look, I think we did pretty good this season. I made some changes to the car. You know, using this S14 was probably a bad choice. It's not a great kind of version of the car this year, and we're kind of stuck with what we have. But look, hindsight is amazing, and yeah, look, we'll go into finals. We'll do our best. Obviously, I think everyone else that was above me, such as Zach and everyone else behind me, have made it through. So I think reality is that I wouldn't be surprised if we're like 5th or 6th by the end of the day. And that happens. It is what it is, and we'll move on.
Well, Alan, look, it's not over yet, and I'm sure you'll come back stronger than ever in the next round.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Cheers.
All right. Okay. Brandon Patrick, how are you doing?
Very good, thank you.
Brandon, P1 in qualification yesterday with an awesome score of 99.25. Absolutely incredible. Please talk us through the layout.
Yeah, so it's quite a challenging layout here for Ferropolis. It all comes down really to transition timing because of the walls being like so close to the edge of the track. If you mess up on your transition timing, it's so easy to clip one of those walls and straighten your car out or be put into a spin, which will obviously end your run or your battle. Also, this track has a very unique initiation zone where we're going in and just flicking the car in straight to angle onto the wall. It's the only track on the calendar like that, so it's a unique challenge. But yeah, yesterday I managed to get over it and put down a good run. I wasn't expecting to put down a 99.2, to be honest, but we did, and now we're top of the pile. So
excellent. Yeah, it was really incredible. And actually, I seen your message in Discord yesterday, and you were like, "Whoa, actually, I got first place." So
yeah,
you surprised yourself, but it was incredible. And then, Brandon, you know, looking at the bigger picture for the championship, you're within the top 10. So what is your season goal now?
Ideally, I'd like to finish up in the top 5. I've had a bit of a rocky season. Some good results like at Mondello and Riga, where I qualified well but didn't battle so well. But I've also had some top 32 exits here and there as well, which hasn't helped. So I think looking forward, if I can try now for a top 5 in the points by the end of the season, I'll be happy with that.
Excellent. And I'm sure you can do it, Brandon. Thank you very much for joining us.
Excellent.
All right, guys. Okay.
Oh, the showdown tags the wall, almost throws it away as Hines backs it in across the line.
Unbelievable again. What a final. What a finish. Lori Hines is your 2024 champion.
Oh, the showdown tags the wall, almost throws.
Not sure we can hear Jonathan there, but we are back for top 16 here. Yeah, there we go. There we go.
There it is. We're back for the top 16. Sorry, I had a mic issue. But hey, I am unfortunate. It's so unfortunate to see Alan Hines get knocked out top 32, but I think he will definitely come back stronger for the next round finals. Tian, what do you feeling this top 16 here?
Top 16 is going to be a killer. Even look at our first battle. Brandon Patrick, it's going to be a huge tight battle. Like we saw the chase driving there from Rupina earlier. It's unbelievable. Brandon Patrick as well, though. Incredible lead driver, top qualifier, 99.25. He knows the line fairly well, I would assume. But this is the other thing. Brandon is an unreal chase driver too. So that's just one battle. Never mind the rest of the battles we have lined up here. It's going to be insane for the rest of this event, even through top 8, top 4 in the finals. This is going to be just clinical every time. Everybody has to be perfect now if they want to make it through.
Yeah, and we have Union Warner versus Alexander Helmet, Andrew Roncero versus Brjinski, Vitaly Isaiah versus Austriaca, which is a battle of titans there on the right side of the top 16. But we have our first battle lined up, which is Brandon Patrick versus Krzysztof Rupina. Brandon Patrick in the Z4 and Rupina in the S14. We'll see how this battle here. Both sim cams on, so you see these guys get locked in. Brandon Patrick, let's see what you can do, man. Here he comes, initiating, going to the first outer zone, and that e-brake. It looks like some contact made from Rupina in the chase as Brandon Patrick is going to outer zone 3, transitioning to outer zone 4. Look at Rupina letting that wheel flow through his hands as he is going through each zone, trying to get that proximity as Brandon Patrick is putting down a line in the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Brandon doing exactly what he was doing in qualifying there yesterday as he comes through perfectly. A little bit of contact there from Rupina. As we come around, Rupina not as close as he was earlier in the top 32 to Brandon Patrick, but look at that, starting to push up onto the door of that BMW Z4 here as we transition through this last section of the track. Really, really top driving from both drivers here. Rupina, just that little bit of a mistake there, maybe on the contact. So we will switch them around here and go through to the second half of this battle.
Brandon Patrick is down to chase a little bit forward on that line. And you have Rupina in the lead. Brandon doing a huge jump, letting off his tires, going into his first outer zone. Look at Rupina. Shallow angle, then angles up to outer zone 1, and then going to outer zone 2 and 3. A great fill out. Look at Brandon Patrick. Now trying to figure out where he needs to go. Right to the pocket of Rupina and going into his final turn here. Brandon Patrick is trying to let off the tires, massage the angle, and get that proximity as they're finishing off this lap.
Yeah, killer run from both guys here. So let's watch the initiation here. A little bit of that gap we saw in top 32 earlier on, but Brandon Patrick making quick work of getting that proximity there. As we transition back, Brandon Patrick massages that BMW right up onto the door of the S14 there. Transition back through this little partial throttle zone. Brandon Patrick doing an incredible job here in the chase position. Rupina doing a perfect lead line though as well, doing exactly what he needs to do. Both these drivers, incredible drivers. As we wait for our decision there, the two drivers will look on as we can see their sim cameras there.
And it looks like Brandon Patrick gets the win and moves on. Clapping of the hands for Rupina. And earlier, Alan Hines did he brought up a good valid point about how it's drifting is a judge motorsport. You got 3 judges. They look at what's going on, and whatever their decision goes, he was able to be as a sportsman and understand that it was their decision, and everybody has their own opinion, and it goes with the fans as well as the drivers in any competition for drifting. But now we have Warren, Black Smoke Team versus Alexander Element. Warren coming in with a huge speed initiation, rubbing that back bumper on that wall of outer zone 1 and 2, and flirting with 3, going to outer zone 4. Look at Alexander Element match an angle of that Mercedes diesel motor going all the way through each zone. Oh mercy, beautiful lead run.
Yeah, absolutely. So Vernon, that short little BMW really able to put that car where it needs to be, putting the rear bumper onto every wall going around here. Alexander Element in that bigger G87 BMW really having to do some adjustment here to really match the angle, and where he's placing that car has to do a little bit of quick calculations in his head, but really doing a solid chase run there, having to deal with a smaller car out in the lead position. As we transition them around here now, Alexander Elman's going to have to see where he places his car on the bigger G87. Will be interesting to see where he lands.
And Warren now in the chase. Alexander Element in the lead, going into that first outer zone. Whoa! E-brake brought him right to the deep end of outer zone 1 and going all the way to outer zone 3, rubbing that back bumper. And look at Warden surging forward in the pocket, getting doors, baby, all the way through the lap. Now he's losing proximity. He needs to surge forward, more, closer, but he loses that proximity at the end.
Yeah, let's have a look at this here now. So the proximity there from Vernon was always there, pushing that Mercedes up onto the door of Alexander Elman. And as we transition around here, look at this as we get a little bit of wheel-to-wheel rubbing there, transition back, and this is really where we start to see the proximity get lost a little bit from Vernon. He isn't anywhere like more than a car length behind, but you can see there was a little bit there. That G87 though, that chassis is such a quick chassis. We've seen anybody who's driven these cars, they are incredibly fast, and it's a big target, the back end of that car, so they can land that car very nicely along the wall too. So it's both pluses and minuses for both drivers of having a big car, small car. It's very much down to whatever the drivers want for themselves, but a lot of guys really liking that G87 chassis and the BMWs in recent seasons.
Yeah, the greatest thing I've seen was with these chassis wise, you got guys with unique cars. You had the 4 Sierra, but then seeing the Mercedes out here with a diesel smokestack coming from the hood, something you don't see often in the Aceto world in modding wise, but these guys are absolutely maniacal with each chassis that they choose.
Yeah,
and we're gonna
absolutely.
wait
Like
for-
even in other series, we've seen like the likes of
Mhm.
the A86s coming back, 11s. We'd love to see stuff like that. We love seeing it. So as we get the decision coming through here,
Yeah, Alexander Element to the right, Warren to the left, and it looks like Warren gets the win. And it looks like Element from the judges, Element slows a lot in outer zone 4, which causes the contact, and that's what made the decision here. Next battle we have, we were talking about unique cars. You got the Ford Sierra from Nick Hang and Cameron Mustard in the R32. Nick Hang chilling out there. Is that a monkey on his bed? A stuffed monkey chilling out there?
believe
That's
it
his
is.
fan right there.
That's a spotter.
Man. That's a spotter. Here we go. Nick Hang in the lead. Coming in, getting, oh, beautiful float to outer zone 1. And look at Cameron Mustard. Huge correction on that first initiation point to outer zone 1. Now he's surging. Huge surge to outer zone 4. Getting door to door as, man, Nick Hang is just hanging onto each wall for dear life as he is ripping those tires. And Cameron Mustard being that spicy brown mustard he loves to be.
yeah, look at this from Cameron Mustard. A little bit of a correction there, trying to adjust to Nick's entry, but from here on out, it is perfect from Cameron. Look at this transition as he placed there perfectly, just lands it lovely in proximity to the door. That's Ford Sierra. So he transitions back through the outer zone 5 here and around outer zone 6. Cameron doing that lovely steady job that he is known for in that R32 Skyline. As we'll switch them around here, Nick Hang to chase out Cameron Mustard.
And Nick Hang is in the chase. Now, Cameron Mustard's in the lead. Let's see the lead lap from Cameron. The spicy mustard coming in to this first outer zone. Hitting that E-brake, rubbing that back bumper on that first outer wall. Outer wall 2, great. Went to outer wall 3. He was putting that back tire on that line of the outer limits of the track. Going to outer zone 4. Now the Ford Sierra surging forward in the pocket, trying to get that proximity as close as possible that Cameron had. And we're going to see in a drone replay if it truly was.
Yeah, so let's have a look there. Oh, this is the first run. But we'll have a look at it again. So you can see that little bit of correction, first initiation point, but Cameron Mustard putting it there. So you can see here this proximity. Nick Hang was trying to replicate that in that second run. Cameron being very fluid with them dives. Look at how quick he jumps onto the door, but stops the car perfectly to park it on the door and just leave it there. Nick Hang trying to replicate that as best as he can in that Ford Sierra. Not doing a bad job overly, but this is drifting, and the judges split hairs on all of these runs, and they go through everything with a fine tooth comb. They've got every camera angle you can imagine. They've got it. So they will be looking really in depth at this battle.
And if you are looking at the chat, you do see you can grab your tickets with that link that you see from Nightbot for the live round of Drift Masters in Germany. Definitely grab your tickets as well as cap some merch. Use Germany as the code. And here we go. Nick Hang to the left. Mustard to the right. Nick is just breathing as patiently as he can. And his stuffed monkey in the background is trying to tell him, it's okay, dude. You did great today. It's up to the judge's hands right now. He also has a punching
They're
bag
just
in the
really
back.
deliberating on this one.
And it looks like a split decision. Cameron Mustard gets the win. Moves on. Great job from both of these drivers. And I see that bench press in the back. Definitely need that with some of these force feedback wheels that these drivers have. If you have it all the way cranked up, you're going to get a workout.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that was the first thing that I had to get used to when I switched to one of those direct drive wheels. It was really heavy compared to what I was used to. So these guys, some of these guys are running insane amounts of force going through them wheels. I don't know how they do it. But we will go to our next battle, which is Roncero versus Vinsky.
Yeah, Roncero. from Spain. He's repping the Escuco A90. You have Brjinski in that matte green, forest green A90 as well. Brjinski is here getting ready to chase down Roncero. Roncero coming out here, doing a nice weight transfer, going to the first outer zone. Oh, he misses outer zone 1, barely touches it with that back tire. Going to outer zone 2 and 3, camping a shallow line. And look at Brjinski doing a great job in the chase, following the lead car. That's what we like to see. Use that lead car as a moving clipping point. Brjinski goes forward in the pocket on the final 3 outer zones, but then flirts out and gets back in.
Yeah, so let's break this down. So on entry here, both drivers doing a very tidy job. A90 on A90, both equal cars. So we have Brjinski doing a very tidy job here. The proximity is very, very nice as we come around through to the last section here, through outer zone 5 and 6. Proximity here in the chase is unbelievable, as the lead line is very, very nice too. So the chase doing everything they can. If they have a good lead line, they can push up on the door. So they're gonna do that. So Brjinski trusting that line of Roncero there, as we have Roncero to chase out Brjinski here.
And Roncero is now chasing down Brjinski with that A90 all greened out, and the Escuco in the chase, trying to follow that lead line. Brjinski does a great job filling out each zone as deep as possible where he needs to be. Going to outer zone 5, beautiful fill out, using that left foot brake to stabilize the car, going to the final end of the track.
Yeah, so the second half of this battle, let's have a look. So Roncero doing a very tidy job there, just matching that angle very, very nicely. As we come through the transition point here, makes a big dive up onto the door. That other A90 Supra, that Escuco driver doing a very tidy job on that dive. And here cuts a bit of the line to get up onto the door again, but pushes Brjinski across the line then. So we will see what the judges make of this one as we get our scorecards to come onto the screen. We can see Brjinski locked in there to his sim, very safe. As we get Brjinski gets the win.
Yeah, Brjinski all locked in. Alec and I were joking around last round. You know how they have the fire suppression system? If we had a simulated fire suppression system and it was shaving cream.
Oh yes, just somebody in the corner with a pie, the cream, just to bang. So here's the thing though, if you want to do simulating, it's your simulation is meant to replicate real life, so you might as well put on your seatbelts, be safe in the comfort of your own home.
And here we have our season's points leader, Sullivan versus Virgil Choisitz. Zach is going to be in the lead. Virgil needs to knock out this championship points leader, and he is locked in. Virgil always as cool, calm, and collective. When he won the last battle, he was pumped up, but now it's the next battle. Zach with the 3-monitor setup in the cockpit. And then with that BMW coming in with a straight line initiation, use that e-brake to get to outer zone 1, and then going to outer zone 2. A huge correction from Virgil Choisitz in the chase. Now surging into the pocket. Oh, bump from Virgil Choisitz. He surged a little too hot into Zach Sullivan. Now he's getting super aggressive on the final 3 outer zones. Huge slugfest right off the rip.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said earlier, Robin's racing, and he really went a little bit harder than he would have liked, I think, into Zach Sullivan. So as we're coming around, Zach doing an incredible lead line here, and we look back, we see that little bump there from Choisitz in the chase, just a little bit slower than he would have expected Zach to be, but Zach doing an incredible job out the front line here, and we will see them for the second half of this battle. We line them back up.
Yeah, we're on the top of the right side of the bracket of the top 16. I know the judge is going to look at that contact to see if Zach was actually floating already out of track and would have hit that wall, or if Virgil actually just forced the contact. But here comes Zach. He's going to chase him down. coming out here with a nice clean mustache as he is going in the chase. Virgil is a little mid-line to that first outer zone, flirting with that outer line, going to outer zone 3 and going to outer zone 4. Look at Jaku Sullivan, cool, calm, and collected, getting close proximity. Oh, mercy. The smoothness that Jaku Sullivan is having throughout the chase is definitely a reason why he's getting championship points leader.
Absolutely. So let's have a look at this. So Choiset not doing the greatest of jobs to begin that run, but then does lock in and gets back on that qualifying line. Zach doing a very good job in the chase. Just letting Choiset go do whatever he has to do, but stay right there to mimic as best he can. That's what the chase driver's there to do. He's meant to mimic the lead driver as close as humanly possible. Zach doing an incredible job there. So we will see what the judges make of this one.
You see Zach, he's he's doing a lot of stuff that you see professional drivers do. He's rewatching the replay on his phone, waiting for the decision as it will get announced in the chat. Left for O'Sullivan, right for Choices. So cool to see the real life practices go into SimWise, and it looks like Zach O'Sullivan just took over both of the webcams as we're going into seeing who gets the decision. And it looks like Zach O'Sullivan gets the win and moves on to the Grade 8. And it looks like Virgil is at fault for the contact in the chase. That was the huge difference in that battle.
Yeah, so we will move it on to our next battle there. So we've Jaku versus Terasoff for our next battle. This will be a very, very close battle, I'm feeling.
Jaku. Both in G87s. Terasoff wiggling his wheels. We've seen previously that these drivers go in the burnout box, and a lot of people are like, why would they do that? It's to test out to make sure their functions on their sim is working right before. You see some guys just wiggle their wheels just to get situated. But here we go. Terasoff in the lead, getting to that first outer zone. Beautiful fill out on outer zone 2, going to outer zone 3. Great job from the lead driver. Look at Jaku surging into the pocket of Terasoff. They've battled plenty of times at Virtual Drift Masters, and you see Jaku getting right to angle, door to door with Terasoff.
Yeah, Jaku doing an incredible job in the chase here, but Terasoff doing an incredible job in the lead too. So as we're looking here, look at the proximity here from Jaku as we're coming through down into this little floating section here. Jaku getting right back up onto the door. You can see them lights for the left foot brake coming up there. But right here, this is where all of it is unbelievable. You cannot even fathom how they stick that close together coming through that section. It is unbelievable. Jaku doing an incredible job there in the chase position.
And here we go. Terasoff is now chasing down Jaku, our last year's champion, as we're going into that first outer zone. Oh, mercy. How close he was. That was basically a credit card swipe. Debit or credit as he is going to outer zone 4. Beautiful fill out. Terasoff is getting super spicy as he is surging forward in the pocket and getting right there, door to door with the last year's champion. Baby, that was insane.
Yeah, unbelievable here. That lead run, again, Jaku's a robot. He can just do that lead run day in, day out with his eyes closed, upside down. And Terasoff knows that, so he's gonna push hard onto Jaku to make sure that he's within that proximity. He can push hard. He's in the same length car as Jaku, so he knows exactly where he needs to place his car, because Jaku's shown him already. He's going through that line already. But Terasoff doing a very, very nice job in the chase position as well. Judges have a little bit to talk about there, I think, but we will see our decision when it drops in.
I do like how Terasoff kind of paused to wait for Jaku's transition from 4 to 5. That's control right there. You see it. Drifting is controlled chaos if you're thinking about driving. And man, oh man, he controlled that chaos. But it looks like Jaku gets the win. The judges have said that Jaku had a better chase down on his lap. So that moves him on to the Great 8 in our next battle. Vitaly Isaev versus Darius the Don Austriaca.
I'm quite excited for this battle now. This is going to be a very, very close battle. Neither of these drivers make mistakes. They are unbelievably talented. So we will wait to see those lights illuminate.
Yeah, Darius this season has been having tough battles since every top 32. Always a tough battle. Oh, some contact being made. But it looks like Vitaly Isaev fights through it. Gets to outer zone 1 and 2 and 3. Let's see if he goes to 4. Beautiful fill out. There's Darius Austriaca trying to get that proximity as he is transitioning to outer zone 5. And look at it. Tire on door throughout the final turn.
These drivers are making me eat my words. I just say these guys never make mistakes, but on initiation there, Darius going a little bit too close to Vitaly and just hitting him on the initiation there as we transition around through outer zone 4 here. You can see just trying to make up for that little bit of a disadvantage. Look at the proximity here from Darius Austriaca. Unbelievable driving for the rest of that run. Just that small little mistake at the start of the scoring zone. We'll see what the judges make of that as we switch them around. Austriaca to lead out Vitaly Isaev.
I've seen a chat if any of these guys are streaming on Twitch and YouTube. I'm not too sure if any of the pro drivers do, but here comes the Don Austriaca trying to get to first outer zone. He runs that back bumper on that wall, and Vitaly Isaev is keeping that proximity right there as he is going through outer zone 3, transition to outer zone 4, a little falling back behind, now searching forward in the pocket on outer zone 4, transition to outer zone 5. Oh, mercy. The crazy angle Vitaly Isaev had to do to slow himself down so he could surge forward and be meticulous with his proximity.
Yeah, very intelligent driving there from Vitaly. If you look at this, not going too close on initiation, but just massaging that BMW Z4 up onto this door of that E92. As we come around here, again, Vitaly leaving a gap there just for transition. Bumper to bumper here, though, as he moves that Z4 back up onto the door there, coming around to outer zone 7 and across the line. These drivers are so technical in their minds and how they're making these split decisions so fast. We will get a decision here.
I just saw a comment. The chillest one-handed lead from Darius the Don Austriaca. And it looks like Vitaly Isaev gets the win and moves on. And man, these guys are absolutely crazy when it comes to these battles. There's a lot of content creators out there that love to do drifting for fun and have a good time. There's a couple pro drivers that actually do it as well, but we got our next battle coming up. Daniel Andrev versus Wallman. The final battle of our top 16. Then we'll be moving on to our grade 8. And here we go. Daniel Andrev into the lead. Wallman in the chase with SSC as Wallman falls behind right off the lead, has to cheat the line so he could get that proximity back. But man, Andrev doing a absolute clinic in the lead so far in this lap as he is rubbing that back bumper on outer zone 4, going to outer zone 5, right to angle, little to no corrections, and Wallman now surging down and trying to get Andrev door.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a look at this. Andrev, again, one of those drivers who's just really, really technical on his lead line. So we'll see Wallman push up onto the door of this 1 Series BMW, doing a fantastic job in that S14.9 there. And look at the transitions. There's bumper to bumper every single time with these guys. They know exactly what length their bonnet is to get right underneath the rear bumper of that lead car. As we'll swap them around here, Wallman to lead out Daniel Andrev.
That's great that you call it a bonnet and I call it a hood. And I think of a bonnet of a different thing. And it took me a second a couple times and I realized what you're talking about. Here we go. Andrev into the lead. Oh, Andrev is now chasing him down, and you saw Wallman angled up to outer zone 1 and outer zone 4. Here he comes. Look at Andrev just surging in, massaging the angle, using that left foot brake to stay right there, close proximity, keeping that stabilized angle all the way through like an absolute, I don't even know, a surgeon.
Yeah, it's absolutely surgical the way these guys are driving at the moment, but Andrev in particular is one of those drivers who just knows exactly where he needs to place that car. It's like he can read the mind of the lead driver. Look at how close he is. He is wheel to wheel with that S14-9 coming around that last zone there. It's unbelievable how these guys can predict what these lead drivers are going to do, as we'll see young Andrev there waiting for the decision.
Left for Andrev, right for Wallman, and it looks like Andrev gets the win. The young buck is moving on. Thumbs up from Wallman. There we go. That's the final battle of our top 16. Here it is. Top 8 so far. You have Brandon Patrick, Warren, Cameron Mustard, Brjinski, Andrev versus Isaiah, and Zaku Sullivan versus Jaku. Zaku Sullivan.
We're in for, I don't think we're going to have voices by the end of this. This is going to be a, look at that top 8 battle on the right-hand side there. Zaku Sullivan versus Jaku. That is going to be huge. Isaiah versus Andrev too. Another huge battle. All of these battles are clinical now. Nobody can make a mistake. You make a mistake, you're out. That's it.
Brandon Patrick and Warren. Brandon Patrick, we saw him in the interview earlier. His goal was to be top 10 in the championship points, and you see him just been hustling, grinding it out. Now he's in the lead. Warren in the chase, coming in. Beautiful initiation going to that first outer zone. A little mid-line from Brandon Patrick. Not what we're used to seeing him. Now he gets the back bumper into the outer wall 3, and look at Warren massaging the angle, rubbing that tire as close as possible. Now getting the matched angle, getting close to door. That's all it is. I draw 3 smacks of the door throughout each zone. That was absolutely insane. Speechless right there.
Incredible driving there from both drivers. But look at this chase run here from Warren. Look at that inside the wheel arch of that BMW Z4. That is unbelievable. So technical from Warren here. It's unbelievable to see how close these guys can push these cars.
I couldn't even think because I just saw the door-on-door contact, and I'm usually not as speechless as that final outer zone was. That was insane, and I'm pretty sure Brandon Patrick knows he needs to put out an insane chase down right here, and he is getting door-to-door with Warren in outer zone 1, 2, and 3, transitioning to outer zone 4. Brandon Patrick is coming all the way through outer zone 4, right on the back bumper of the wall, and here comes the final outer zones. This lap, this battle here is the definition of getting doors.
Absolutely. Look at this from Brandon Patrick doing exactly what he needs to do here. He knows that Warren was close on the first run, so these transitions need to be perfect, and he places the car exactly where he needs it. Wheel to that door, glues that BMW Z4 to the side of that Mercedes with the black smoke piling out of it. It's unbelievable to see how Brandon Patrick can just switch. It's just, oh, he was close. Okay, I'll go closer. He knows what he has to do. Both these guys, what incredible. Both chase runs there were unbelievable. I don't know how the judges are going to have to split hairs on this one. They're going to have to deliberate about this one a little bit longer than I think we've seen before. So as we wait, we'll see both those guys sit nice and patiently in 2 beautiful made cars.
I want it one more time because I want to see that again, but I know that's what I would like to see, but that's not how a competition goes. It's not a public lobby. You got to figure out who's going to podium. And Brandon Patrick, a big sigh of relief. Brandon Patch to the left, Warren to the right. Let's see what the judges have come to a decision here with the Strom wheels. One of our title sponsors here for Virtual Drift Masters, as well as money and Ragnar simulators. Oh man.
Yeah, judges deliberating this one heavy. They're really having to go through every camera angle here to see, was there any kind of mistake at all between these drivers? Can they separate them at all? Are they going to have to send them one more time? Me as a drift fan, I'd love to see them go one more time. I'm not going to complain about that. I'd love to see that. And we do have a split decision, and Warren getting the win there. Chris saying one more time, Mateus and David going with Warren. A little bit of a clap there from Banner and Patrick. And he will exit out of the top 8, and we will see him back for the finals.
I wonder if we could get Chris in here. We were having some mic issues. Chris, can you run us through that last battle? That was so exciting.
Can you hear me? Let's see if this works.
Yeah, I hear you,
first.
Chris.
Yes, brilliant. Okay, yeah. So for me on that one, I went one more time because I felt it was really, really close. It was really hard to call. So it looks like on that first run with Brandon in the lead, there's a moment where, like, on transition from 3 to 4, where there's maybe some sort of ping issue or something. I'm very unsure as to what entirely happened there. So for me, it's one more time. Whereas the lads were like, fair enough, but there's no clear contact. So for us, it has to be that, no, Brandon is making a mistake. Brandon decelerates, which is what causes Una to make those errors in chase, therefore giving the win to Brandon in that case.
Well, I appreciate you, Chris.
Sorry, giving the win to Una. Sorry.
Yeah.
Said the wrong name. Sorry. Sorry.
We understand where you're coming from, but Chris, you're an absolute legend. Thank you for that quick explanation of it. We're going to our next battle. You got Brjinski versus Cameron Mustard. Mustard in the chase. Brjinski is going to be leading, and he's been on one throughout this whole track, throughout this whole competition. Whew, that last battle was exciting. Let's see if these guys can live up to that hype. Brjinski is going to be in the A90 Supra, coming in with a nice initiation, going to that first outer zone and getting that back bumper on that first wall. Look at Cameron Mustard being as spicy as he can be. Let's see if he'll put more mustard on that sandwich, and he puts too much mustard on the sandwich, putting Brjinski in almost into the wall as they're going to the final outer zones here. Cameron Mustard is still sticking it to his door.
Yeah, let's have a look at what happened there in that little center section. So when we transition here, Cameron Mustard does exactly what he's doing in top 16, parks the car exactly where he needs it to be, right on the door of that A90 Supra. As we transition back here, let's just have a look at the brake lights. No brake lights on that A90 Supra until now, where he's trying to correct himself. So Cameron doing a little bit too much there in that zone, but then doing a really, really tidy job for the rest of the run. And we will see what happens in the second half of this battle. Cameron is a very, very good lead driver, so we'll have to see Brjinski doing a top-tier job to go through this.
The second half of the battle. And I'm pretty sure his spotter is telling him, hey, you just need to have a good, clean chase, no contact. Just follow the lead car. Let's get through it. Brjinski is now chasing down Cameron the Spicy Mustard as he is going to our first outer zone. Huge angle going to outer zone 1, outer zone 2, beautiful fill out, going to outer zone 3, getting lights off with that tires as he is going all the way to outer zone 4. Look at Brjinski surging forward in the pocket, letting it all hang out because he knows he needs to be as aggressive as possible with no contact. And Brjinski getting that door.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said earlier on, so a lot of these drivers with their spotters, they don't know if they're trying to interpret the judges, so they don't know if 100% if they are at fault for contact or not. So Brjinski making that decision to go absolutely door to door with Cameron Mustard, because again, like I said, Cameron's good at the leads. He knows his way around this track. So Brjinski trusting that lead line behind Cameron Mustard, doing an incredible job there in the chase is Brjinski.
Brjinski to the left, Mustard to the right, and Brjinski gets the win and moves on with that A90 Supra being locked in. Great job from Mustard throughout the competition today. And now we have our next battle coming up, which is the right side of the top 8. So the left side, we're going to see Warren versus Brjinski. Now we're going to figure out who's on the right side. Sullivan versus Jaku. Sullivan, our points leader for VDM of this season. Jaku, our champion from last year. Jaku, we've said it before, he's absolutely a menace, like a robot when he's driving. Let's see how he performs here. Sullivan in the BMW, red BMW. Coming in, lighting off the tires, going to that first outer zone, hitting that e-brake, getting midline on outer zone 1. Jaku holding his own, getting right to the pocket of Sullivan. Transition, buttery smooth, getting door-to-door to outer zone 4. Beautiful fill out from both of these drivers. The chase down from Jaku as he is letting him know, I was a champ last year, you got to get through me.
Yeah, absolutely insane driving there from both drivers. Zach doing a very good job in the lead position. Jaku doing exactly what he needs to do, and what he does every time in the chase is just park that BMW on the side of the lead car, and look at this, the proximity and the fluidity is unbelievable here from Jaku in the chase position. But we see Zach doing that incredible lead line out front. We will have to see what happens in the second half of this battle, because at the moment I can't split either of these drivers, both doing insane runs.
Sullivan now chasing down our last year's champion. Zach is gonna get as super aggressive as possible right off the rip, a little bit forward in the pocket right off the rip, and outer zone 2 is great fill out. A little bit of a correction from Sullivan on outer zone 3 in the chase, but look at going through outer zone 4. Beautiful fill out from Jaku. Transition, oh no, contact with the wall in outer zone 5. A huge and crucial mistake from Jaku.
Yeah, let's see what happened there. Was he late on transition? Did that push him slightly wide? So look at this from Sullivan. The proximity there was insane. As Jaku transitions back here to outer zone 4, and is just, there's a little bit of contact there from Sullivan, a little bit of a rub. Right there, that was the contact. Went too wide there, did Jaku. And across the line they go. Zach doing a very tidy job to adjust to that little wall tap from Jaku. Really, really good job from both drivers there, and the judges will have to have a look at anything there. Try split every hair. But we will see. The main thing we'll be looking at there, I'd say, would be those 2 bits of contact. One from Zach and then Jaku with the wall, and did that initial contact cause Jaku to go into the wall after that transition? Was he thrown off by that, thrown off line a little bit? We'll have to see.
I was going to bring that point. Did that contact force him a little bit offline that made Jaku go into that wall? But judges have come to a decision. Left for Sullivan, right for Jaku. Last round, Sullivan was bumping the music, and it was Electric Callboy. Wonder if he's listening to any music right now. And it looks like one more time from Sullivan and Jaku. I'm gonna get a
maybe those contacts one apiece there. We could be looking at Zach at fault for one and Jaku at fault for the other. So the judge is saying, you know what, run them again. Let's see a 100% clean battle here between both drivers. I'm not complaining. That's great. I love watching this.
Yeah. This proves that any mistake from any of the drivers could force one more time. And here we go. Sullivan in the lead. Jaku in the chase. Our next battle here. Here we go. Sullivan getting right to angle. And look at Jaku matching angle right off the rip. and he is staying right there in the pocket of Zach O'Sullivan. Transitioning is buttery smooth as Jaku is right there and letting them know that I am here to fight as they're going through the final half of the zone. Beautiful fill out.
Yeah, again, straight away, the fluidity there from Jaku is unbelievable. Straight up onto the door through initiation to Zach O'Sullivan. And look at the proximity here, and it's so perfect all the time. It doesn't change. It's always the same proximity, and even after transition, the gap is always the same with Jaku. So Zach doing an incredible lead line there as well, because look, Jaku couldn't do what he's doing there without Zach being on the correct line, doing that perfect lead run. So we'll switch them around and see what happens in the second half of this one more time.
Zach O'Sullivan is chasing down Jaku. And one more time battle, second half of it, as Jaku, oh, that initiation was so smooth. It's like putting a nice melted butter on toast as he's going through each zone, filling it all the way out to outer zone 4. And look at Zach O'Sullivan reading Jaku everywhere he goes, getting that proximity, matching angle, all the way through the line and dabbing that left foot brake.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at this. So Zach O'Sullivan, not as close on initiation, but then gets straight back up onto the door of that G87, driven by Jaku. Jaku on that perfect lead line there. And Zach, again, just trusting that lead driver, just push up on the door. It doesn't matter what he's going to do. If he hits the wall, that's his problem. So Zach doing exactly what he needs to do there. Get up on the door, try fight back, because in that first run, Jaku was on rails, right on the door of that E36. So that means Zach has to do exactly that. He has to put that E36 on the door of the G87. So we'll see what the judges are making of that. We do look like we might have a decision coming through here. As we can see, Zach O'Sullivan going through that replay yet again. We'll wait for a decision from our judges.
Oh, man. Left for Sullivan, right for Jaku. They're getting a decision here. And Jaku gets the win. A great battle with Zach O'Sullivan. And Chris, I don't know if you can hear me, but give us a rundown of both of these battles. What forced them to OMT into your decision here? I would love to hear from your guys' perspective. I don't know if Chris is there.
I don't think he is.
I don't think he is. He's so focused. Vitaly Azeev and Andrev is next. But got a quick rundown on that previous battle from the OMT. Jaku had the advantage until he had contact with the wall. Also, Zach made contact with him on outer zone a little bit, outer zone 4 a little bit. So then the last battle, Jaku had a closer chase. But here we go. Vitaly Azeev in the lead. Beautiful initiation going to that first outer zone, getting locked in. Outer zone 2 is great. Look at Andrev chasing him down. Vitaly Azeev is going right to angle each zone. There's no corrections from what I see so far. He is getting to angle every zone he gets, every transition. And look at Vitaly Azeev absolutely doing a killer lead lap.
Yeah, let's have a quick look here. So Vitaly in the lead, doing a very tidy run here. Is it Vitaly in the lead? He is in the lead. So I get confused, these guys. Same teammates as well, by the way, both driving BMWs, but both drivers doing an absolutely clinical run here. Both, like, look at the proximity here. Unbelievable. These guys know exactly where they both are going to go because they've been practicing together all the time for the run up to this round, I will presume being teammates. So we will see what happens with Andrev now in the chase and Azeev in the lead.
Andrev is getting locked in, chasing down Azeev as they're going to that first outer zone. Beautiful fill out. Azeev is in the lead, just chasing him down and getting straight to angle. Going to outer zone 4. Beautiful fella as well. Andrev chasing down Isaiah as he is getting all the way through each zone. Oh my goodness, a little bit forward in the pocket from the chase driver, but that final zone was impeccable by Lead.
Yeah, let's have a look here now. So Lead doing, like, these guys, they're robots. They know exactly what they're doing in the lead. And they'll just replicate that same run over and over and over again, which opens up the chase to just know exactly where they're going. They're going to do exactly what they need to do. Look at like proximity here. It's nuts.
Yeah. It was great with Andrev with that blue BMW. He's been on a tear throughout the whole season. A young kid too. He's about the same age as Nico, the kid Stella. But you see it, Andrev just waiting to see the decision here. Right for Andrev, left for Andrev. Get an E92 versus G29 Z4. You see Andrev talking to himself, hyping himself up, waiting for that decision. And it looks like Andrev gets the win and moves on. And they said, the judges said, sick chase from Daniel Andrev on his chase down. And here we go. Rose, we're at our top four, or final four. What are you feeling?
Oh God, well looking back on the top 8, another upset. Zach has exited the championship, so that's interesting. Couple of highlights as well, the top 8. I mean, Brandon Patrick and Huna, oh my God. Like the proximity, the transitions, nailed it every time. Actually a little bit gutted that Brandon is gone. I was kind of rooting for him this round. Zach's transitions again with Jaku, incredible. But guys, right, our defending champion, Jaku, he hasn't looked like much of a threat so far. But is he making a bold bid so late in the season? I mean, he's 6th. Can he do it? Can he get up in the top 3? Let's see.
It's back where I was saying with Daniel Ostriekev, with where he's been having tough battles throughout the season. So I'm not talking down for Zach because he's had tough battles too. It's just with drifting, especially how the qualifying goes. Even though you are the lower seeded person, you still can be an absolute underdog. And I'm excited to see this. What do you think about Ian?
Yes, like look at our top 4 here. We can see the whole bracket, and if we look from top 32 to top 16 to top 5, like Rose said, we're losing top drivers here. But Jaku, defending champion, he's in there, and he is out to win today, and he is on rails. But then again, look at who he has to battle. He has to battle Daniel Andrev. Andrev again on an absolute flyer today, and for the whole season. So. But on the other side of the tree, then we've got Warren and Vinsky, both drivers who have been killing it today too. So we'll just have to see how this all plays out, because at my guess at the moment, I couldn't give you a guess. These guys are all winners in my opinion. All of these guys could go to the final and win. So anyone could toss a coin. These guys could win.
Yeah, man. After seeing these battles, especially with the new layout of Ferropolis, Rose, compared to the previous layout, what are you excited about?
Well, look, the walls are always the danger, right? And I mean, there's always that little bit of an edge when you have the walls, and it's one mistake can cost everything, and I think that's the glory of it.
Well, we're about to see the glory right here. The winner moves on to the battle of first and second place, and the loser will go to the battle of third place. So just because you lose this battle doesn't mean you don't have a chance to the podium. Una Warninen versus Robert Brjinski. Black Smoke team versus Brjinski in that A90 Supra. locked in his harness, getting ready for the lights. Here we go. Warninen is coming out here with a nice initiation, getting right to angle, and look at Brjinski, a little bit of a bobble as he is chasing down Warninen as they're going into outer zone 4. Get right to angle, getting ripped up so he can ride that back bumper on that wall, going to the final outer zones. And look at Brjinski surging forward in the pocket, trying to get door to door with Warninen.
Yeah, let's have a look at this now. So Brjinski straight up on the door there, but falls back behind, has to make a bit of a correction there behind the Mercedes. So when we transition back through outer zone 4 here, that little after the partial decel zone there, right back on the door of that Mercedes is Brjinski, and cutting a little bit inside there as we come around to the last clip. But very tidy run from both drivers. The lead line was flawless from Warninen, as we will get him to chase out Vinsky now in the second half of this battle.
Brjinski in the lead. He's a little bit far to the right on the line. We'll see how this performs here as they're running up to the initiation point. Warninen right there, close to the pocket. And here's Brjinski. Warninen's trying to stay as close and tidy into the pocket of Brjinski, transitioning. Oh, bumper to bumper transition to outer zone 4, getting door to door with Brjinski as they're going to the final outer zones. Absolutely maniacal, getting doors, baby.
Warninen doing an incredible job there in the chase. Look at this, the proximity from the get-go right there on the back of that A90 Supra, and then look at where his wheel is. It's right on the door. If that was real life, there'd be black marks all over that A90 Supra right now. But then tucking that wheel into the wheel arch of the A90 Supra, this is really clinical. Look at this wheel on wheel action here. If that was real life, that Mercedes would be jumping on top of that A90 Supra. But drivers can afford to do that in the sim. It's great. It's really, really nice to see, but it shows how technical these drivers also are. They can put that car there and just hold it there. They know exactly what kind of room and space they have between the two cars. They know how far they can push. So we'll see what the judges think of this, but that chase run from Warninen was unbelievable.
And we have the judges coming up with the decision. Left for Warninen, right for Brjinski. Winner gets to battle out for our first, second place, so it's a guaranteed position on the podium. And the loser. And it looks like Warninen gets to win and moves on. Guaranteed podium position. Brjinski still has to battle it out to get on that third step on that podium. Here we go. We are here at Ferropolis. Virtual Drift Master sponsored by Money, Strom Wheels, and Ragnar Simulator. Beautiful performance from all of these drivers today. And now we have our second half of the final four. Andrev versus Jaku. Jaku is our last year's champion. And we had an insane battle last year with Andrev and Jaku in Montello. And I am excited to see this battle here. Two absolute titans in the sim community. Let's see how this happens. Battle for first and second place is after this. And here comes Jaku in the chase, trying to get that proximity alive. And he is staying right there, matching angle, transitioning to outer zone 4. Beautiful transition from Andrev as he is a little bit, has space on outer zone 4 wall. But here comes Jaku as he is going to the final outer zone.
Yeah, let's have a look at this now. This is a big battle here, all Lithuanian battle as we come through that first inner zone. Very nice proximity from Jaku there. Andrev doing a very clean run there on the wall. As we come back to the second wall on outer zone 4, Jaku right there on the door, that 1 Series BMW as we transition back towards outer zone 5 and 6. Coming around, good proximity there again in the chase from Jaku. Not doing a whole pile wrong in the lead is Andrev. We will see what happens in the second half of this run.
Andrev is now chasing down our last year's champion. Andrev did have a couple mistakes. And Jaku probably has a spotter saying, hey, you need to fill out each zone as best as possible in the lead. We're going to see how he performs here in Ferropolis. He brake pull into that first outer zone, filling it all the way out. Look at Andrev. Just huge angle from Andrev and Jaku. And look at Andrev matching angle from the lead car and owing into the chase, surging into the pocket, rubbing the tire on the door of Jaku as they're finally finishing this lap. Wow.
Yeah, let's have a quick look at this. The chase run here was impeccable from Andrev. Look at how close he is compared to Jaku in the first run. As we transition back bumper to bumper here down into outer zone 4 is unbelievable. Those brake lights on for Andrev, that whole section there as we come back around. Andrev absolutely massaging that car up onto the door of that G87 there. Andrev really won with that car. He's been driving that car now this whole season, and even in other series too, he's been driving it. He's getting really, really comfortable with it as we wait for our decision to come through.
Andrev to the left, Jaku to the right. Winner moves on to battle for second. Loser goes to the battle of third and fourth place. That will be the next battle after this. And we're going to see what the decision has been made. Jaku with, I still giggle about, last year he had Jaku on the spoiler. Now he has it on his rear windshield. Love that he embraced the name. Arrows Marine livery. And then you have Andrev with Drift Happens livery. Two Titans here figuring out where the judgment is made. And it looks like a one more time. Wow.
Yeah, definitely. Judges, very hard to split that there. I would say the judges are having a nightmare here trying to split these guys. These two drivers, they've been at the top for a couple of years now. They are unbelievable drivers as they go back to reset their tires, get new tires on them cars as they line back up here on the line, ready to go. We have Andrev to lead out Jaku.
Here we go. Andrev in the lead. Jaku in the chase. Andrev coming in here with that initiation, hitting that e-brake. Look at Jaku rubbing the back bumper, as well as Andrev as he is going to outer zone 4 right here. Transition is smooth. Look at Jaku surging into the pocket after getting smoked out on the transition. Going to outer zone 5. Beautiful fill out. Andrev is right there, filling each zone out. Oh, mercy.
Let's have a look at this now. One more time here. Very close battle. So Jaku falling behind a little bit more than he would have liked to there, but gets right up on the door there. Maybe a bit of contact there on transition, but Anestas getting straight back up on the door of the 1 Series. And Andrev doing a very, very tidy lead run there, not doing anything wrong, hitting every clip, filling every outer zone, and rubbing the back bumper of that 1 Series off every single wall in Ferropolis as we line them back up.
Here we go. Andrev is now in the chase, chasing down our last year's champion. Our one more time battle. Let's see how Jaku rubs his back bumper on the first outer zone. Second outer zone, buttery smooth. To the third, to the fourth. And look at Andrev fighting with last year's champion, going blow with blow. Like Evander Holyfield and Muhammad Ali out here, just slugging it out.
Yeah, this is, again, I don't know how the judges are judging these runs, how they're splitting the hairs here, because look at this, the proximity from Andrev leaves that little bit of a gap to transition, but then dives straight back in, puts his front wheel in the wheel arch of the G87. And Jaku doing an incredible lead run there too, allowing Andrev to get up on the door of the G87. I don't understand how these drivers are pulling off these runs so consistently. It is unbelievable.
I think I just dated myself with Muhammad Ali and Andrew Holyfield, but I'm not ashamed.
Well, I'll make you feel older and tell you that was well before my time. So.
Oh my goodness. Oh man.
And you know what? That was probably before Andrejev's time too. So.
You'll see the socials on the top right of the screen. Definitely give us a follow, sub, like this stream. We love giving you guys this content and this competition in the esports arena. for drifting. Left for Andrev, right for Jaku. Winner gets first and second place battle. And it looks like Andrev gets the win and moves on. And now we're going to see our battle for third place. Wow. That was insane. The whole
I believe it'll be
competition,
Jaku versus Vinsky. Yeah, absolutely. So look at this final A and final B. This is going to be nuts. How are the judges going to score this?
I don't even know. This is where I'm excited that I'm a commentator and the judges have their job. Is probably the toughest job in the motorsport in general, because one, you could be loved or hated, but these guys are very meticulous on how they look at this stuff and like the angle, line speed and aggression, proximity. They have multiple different angles on the sim, so that's a huge advantage for them. But in real world, it's also, you only got the drone replay too. But today, for virtual drift masters and throughout the season, they try to replicate the real world kind of situations here. But we got Jaku Brjinski battle for third place here at Ferropolis. Let's see how these guys come out here. Jaku coming in with a nice initiation, going to our first outer zone, been absolutely dialed in, rubbing the back bumper on outer zone 1 through 3 every time, transitioning to outer zone 4, a little bit of a contact with the front bumper and back bumper, transitioning to outer zone 5, a little contact there, and then Jaku fights through it, possibly taps that wall on outer zone 6. Look at this drone replay.
Yeah, Vinsky just making sure Jaku knows he's there, knocking on him a few times. Look at the proximity here, is unbelievable. We transitioned through, maybe a possible bit of contact there on transition, but Vinsky right there with Jaku as we transition back. This is where we saw that little bit more of a knock here, and that wall, I think, actually kind of saving Jaku from spinning out altogether. He kind of pushed him back onto the line, just nice and perfectly there. So we'll see what the judges make of that now after the second half of this run. We line them back up.
We got Brjinski now in the lead. Jaku chasing him down. Brjinski locked in. A90 Supra versus BMW as we're going to this first outer zone. Beautiful fill out from Brjinski as he is going to outer zone 3. Putting that back tire on that line, transitioning to outer zone 4. Look at Jaku massaging that left foot brake so he doesn't make contact with Brjinski, transitioning to outer zone 5. Beautiful fill out from the lead driver, but look at the chase down from Jaku.
Yeah, let's have a watch back on this. Jaku doing an incredible job in the chase run here. Would have been onto a spotter, asking what's going on. Spotter will probably give him an idea of what happened there, but Jaku just gonna push hard anyway. Look at how close he is. Maybe cutting a little bit of angle there just to stay nice and close, but keeping it nice and calm on the door of that A90 Supra as they cross the line there. We'll see what the judges made of that, because maybe a couple of mistakes that judges might see that we don't see. So again, this is why we are commentators and not judges. We prefer the judges to do the judging things, and we just like to watch and enjoy it. So let's see what the judges made of this one.
The winner gets third place. Left for Jaku, right for Brjinski. Here at Ferropolis, the next round of Drift Masters. Get your tickets now. And it looks like Jaku gets the win for third place. Wow.
Yeah, Jaku doing an incredible job all day. Yeah, absolutely. But let's be honest, this whole top 32 to top 16, 8, 4, and into the finals now has been top driving from everybody. But right now we've got the top 4. We already know Jaku is in third place. He's just won that. In the final, who will get it? Who do we are we going to hedge our bets with? Is it going to be Andrev? Is it going to be Voronin? We don't know. We'll have to run them down the track to see.
we're gonna get the chat hyped up. Who do you think is gonna win? Let's get some hype in the chat for these two drivers. These guys have a guaranteed podium spot, but we'll see who is gonna be standing higher on the podium. Andrev in the lead, Warren in the chase. Here we go. Andrev coming in with a nice initiation, going to that first outer zone, midline on outer zone 1, going to outer zone 2. Warren right there, putting that front tire where he needs to be, transition, and getting right to the pocket of Andrev on outer zone 4, transitioning to outer zone 5. Warren needs to surge forward in the pocket and get right to the door of Andrev, the young buck here at VDM.
Yeah, let's have a quick look at that there. So a few little bits that I spotted there. So coming through midline there from Andrev, Ronan doing a very tidy job to deal with that, getting right up on the door of that 1 series as you transition back. A little bit of contact there with Ronan and Andrev. But here, this is where we come back. Maybe a possible bit of contact there. Andrev has to shallow up on angle to avoid hitting the wall there. So I don't know, was that maybe from that last bit of contact from Ronan? I don't know. We'd have to watch that back numerous times from numerous different angles to figure that out, but that's what the judges are there for. So we'll run it for the second half of this battle.
The second half of this battle, and I'm pretty sure Andrev's spotter is saying, hey, you probably have the advantage here, but I need you to stick it to the door of the black smoke team. That Mercedes just emitting black smoke on the line. Coming in side-by-side initiation nearly, and look at Warren right to angle, but look at Andrev matching angle going through each zone, and it looks like he has to shallow up the angle so he can give him room for the transition. Going to outer zone 4, Warren being an absolute gangster going through the final zones, and look at Andrev just matching angle, getting doors all the way through that final turn.
Very, very intelligent driving there from Andrev. Knew that he could be at a disadvantage, so he's going to push hard right from the get-go. Look at how close he is in proximity to that Mercedes as we transition back here. Really intelligent there. Just shallows off the angle and makes that dive. Gets the power down to get back up onto the door. Same here again. Makes the dive and puts his wheel in the wheel arch of the Mercedes as they come across the line. This is incredible, incredible driving from both drivers. We are really, really happy to be seeing all this. Who knows what the judges are going to be seeing? We will see what they make of this.
Left for Andrev, right for Warren, and it looks like Andrev gets the win for first place, and Warren is in second place for Ferropolis here at VDM Round 6 in Germany. Do a little smoke show here. Man, oh man.
Yeah,
Locked
this is incredible.
in.
Incredible driving from all drivers today, but let's put it together. Let's get some hype and chat for our top 4 and our podium, who we have there as Verona going nuts with the black smoke and the tire smoke from that diesel-powered 190E. That's incredible. What a day we've had.
Yes, it was an absolutely electric day. And I do have to always thank the sponsors, Money, Strom Wheels, and Ragnar Simulator for helping us out and getting virtual Drift Masters here. And also being affiliated with Drift Masters here on the YouTube. Definitely drop a subscribe, like there. Rose, I honestly didn't expect the results from today to happen how it was. It was insane.
You know what? I have the exact same thoughts. But look, Daniel Andreev, he is going from strength to strength. Every round he's getting stronger and stronger. And I think he's the future of the sport, guys. He's someone to watch out for in the future. And I would love to see him in IRL drifting. So, fingers crossed. Daniel?
Yeah, we have Nico.
We'll see what he can do in that final.
Yeah, and we see here the schedule. The next round is going to be August 31st that weekend for virtual. Every round here for virtual is about 2 weeks before the real life event. Throughout this whole season, we had a lot of major changes when we started the season compared to the last season, and Rose is one of them. Doing the interviews, what have you gathered from the interviews that makes it a more, I would say, enjoyable experience for the viewers here to understand the sim guys.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, as a spectator, just watching a sim drifting event, it can be quite boring, right? Okay, because I mean, these guys are so good. The runs are already stellar, right? They're already pitch perfect. So you need to have a little bit of flavor in there, you know, interviews, get to know the drivers. And then, as we spoke about earlier, the live cams, they're another great addition too. I mean, it just changes the virtual championship completely.
Yeah, for sure. And then everybody is wondering where you see the live brackets here, and it's at VDM.gp. If you go to that website, you'll get all the info for the tracks. The cars are actually their own personal cars that they invested money into. And for us, Ian and I, we talked about how intense the making of this. And Rose, from you are in the drift scene in real life and seeing the sim models, like what are your thoughts on that for these guys as well?
I mean, actually, it's funny you ask me this question, because I don't know if any of you guys follow Alan Hines and his socials, right? He built a brand new sim rig very, very recently, right? And what's interesting is it's an exact mock-up of his IRL car, from the position of the handbrake, the steering wheel, everything is identical. And obviously these guys are using the sim as a way to get better in real life. So I mean, the next step now is, you know, having your sim the same as your IRL car, and of course you're just going to get better and better, because it's like you're not changing from, you know, a sim to a real car. It's the same.
Yeah. And Ian, what's your final thoughts for this round, man? It's been exciting for Ferropolis to come back in Drift Masters.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really, really excited. I've always loved watching Ferropolis. It's just such an exciting track, such a cool vibe. It's an old iron mine. How is that not cool? Like, we are getting to drift in some of the coolest places, from the likes of Riga, one of the, in my opinion, coolest tracks in the world, but then we get to go to an iron mine, then drifting in a Polish stadium in front of 50,000 people. That's nuts too. Every single round has something about it. It's just completely and utterly the best, in my opinion, in the world, and we continue to see it grow and grow. And even when we step into the virtual side of things, look at the drivers we have here. These guys, whoever wins the championship, this is presume one of the reasons why we have it 2 weeks before, whoever wins this championship gets VIP passes to that PGE Narodowy event, and they get to see it in real life, which is unbelievable. And it's really exciting for whoever wins that championship to get there. So really excited to see how the rest of this championship works out. Even though we've one round left, I will be glued to my screen watching that. So hopefully whoever wins will enjoy that lovely little prizes they get.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah. And it's an absolute pleasure being with you guys and the chat. You guys been always a pleasure to read your comments and get everything through. Check out VDM.gp as well as Driftmaster's website to get your tickets for Germany. Also, if you haven't copped your merch, you could also use the code Germany so you could get a little discount, so you could get some really nice merch. I see Rose rocking the Driftmaster shirt right there. Everybody here everybody here has been awesome. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you for tuning in to Virtual Driftmasters. Yet again, my name is Jonathan Tiny Jarboe. I'll catch you guys next at Poland virtually. Virtual Driftmasters is back in 2025, and it's coming in hot. This season, 10 Driftmasters pros step into the sim to battle 40 of the last season's best virtual drivers in a showdown like no other. With 7 rounds of high-stakes action and top 32 broadcasts every Sunday, the stage is set for something legendary. And calling all the action, you may ask? It's me, Tiny, bringing the hype, the energy, and every tire-shredding moment. This is Virtual Driftmasters 2025. Let's go. Virtual Drift